think like what flavor of ice cream he likes and eats, or let's say what kind of drinks he drinks throughout the day, or what does he eat. The things that like are not really concern of God. Let's say something like that.
Okay. So then, how does this work, George? So on a compatibilist view, and I'm not sure what you are, but let's just say you're. Why did you choose to do what you did in any given situation?
Well, either it's going to be an external source predetermination, or it's going to be free will decision, right? So it kind of depends on case basis. Like generally, let's say me killing a man, right? Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yeah, I'm
say me
here.
killing a man. Yeah. So let's say
Yeah.
me killing a man. Like most of the times, compatibilists would say that, like, yeah, that was a free will decision. Like, a God will never make you kill anybody else or predetermine you to murder anybody else, right? That's what they would say. But it's more about like justification rather than the state of affairs themselves. How can they justify like the decisions that they
Oy. Hey. Any questions? God, philosophy, morality, that kind of stuff. Questions? God, philosophy, morality. Anybody? Evidence for God. Hey, Mandoop, creatinine. Taco, you're not a mod.
Hi, what's up?
I am. I just didn't want to intrude because it's not really related.
Mm,
Are you going to my debate tonight?
I doubt it. I'm going to work tonight.
Dang. Okay. Well, it's here, and it's going to be so good.
Mm,
It's Muhammad and the Revelation from Shrooms. I really need to rename it because I'm not actually arguing he had a revelation, right? I'm not arguing hallucinations, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm working from 5 to 10.
I had a question about
It's at 3 Central. I think it's good. It's 3 to 4 Central.
Sonny, you had a question?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm an atheist. I'm curious where you think like survival instinct comes from.
Evolution.
Like, do you think that the first species or whatever, however abiogenesis happened, do you think that there was a possibility that they just did not have any instinct and randomly one of them like got survival instinct and then reproduced similar species with that instinct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Probably started with brains first. Then brains got some kind of consciousness, and consciousness started to get desires, and desires. One of those became those instinct thingies. Something along those lines. Anybody questions? Philosophy, politics?
Give me like 2 seconds and I'll try to get you in at everyone.
All right, thanks. Hey, Red Hammer. Not much. Ooh. Been doing a lot of bike delivery. Haven't lost as much weight as I would like, though. Only lost like 11 pounds or something, but I should be at like 20. I don't know what you mean by advancements mechanics. Too much work. I don't want to cut back on diet because I like diet. It's too much work. It's unpleasant sensation being hungry. Anybody have any evidence for God? What they think indicates any evidence or arguments they think actually indicate a God more than naturalism? I don't know. I don't know. I'm stressed. I don't know what I need. Another Instagram model girlfriend. That's what I need. Do I think some form of molecular evolution is inevitable in our universe? Probably. Anybody got any evidence for God, things they think indicate a God? I don't like beer. Beer tastes disgusting. Also, being drunk doesn't make me feel good.
I got an interesting topic until you get a caller if you got a moment.
Sure.
So I've been doing research for this debate, and there are lots of books on this. There are scientific studies on this. There are scientists that reference shrooms being used by religions for thousands of years, published in publications. There are books on this that reference Jewish and Christian sources. It appears that manna in the Bible not only is it like certain foods that are easily obtained from nature, but part of that includes mushrooms, magic mushrooms.
But manna was supposed to come
Very
from the
damning
ground.
for these religions.
I don't see how that's damning. Like, who cares if they did drugs?
Fair enough.
Hey, anybody questions or arguments for the existence of God better than naturalism? Philosophy, politics, morality, epistemology.
Sorry about that. My mom called right as you let me up on the stage.
Okay.
So I just had a question for you regarding one of the things that I've been hearing lately. This isn't quite atheist, but it fits the bucket. I've been in the flat Earth chat, and people have this weird obsession with what they see and what they can physically observe, and that often overlaps into religion, where a lot of people's decision to be religious come from, oh, well, this particular set of circumstances happened that led me to believe this was an act of God rather than just random chance. How would you convince these people that it is in fact just random chance that they see these quote unquote holy events happen?
You're probably not going to convince them. You can show them evidence that it happens at an equal rate as chance and happens to people at the same rate in every society, regardless of what their religious belief is and regardless of whether or not they pray. And so the fact that they prayed and it happened at the same time they prayed isn't evidence of a God, because if it happens at a certain percentage rate everywhere in the world every day, then it's no different than them praying for rain and it's starting to rain. Well, it just happened by luck.
Fair enough. Yeah, my standard for, because when people ask what would make you believe in God, my standard is if I can say a prayer and every time I say that prayer it lights a candle, every time without fail. It's like, okay, and there's no scientific phenomenon to explain it. That's my standard, but even then that's a bit goofy.
I do not do weight training. It does not help me to lower stress.
There's somebody with an SS lightning bolt as their profile picture in the chat. I bet they have a lot to contribute. Surely lots of things of substance.
Probably not related to a God argument, so I don't really care.
So what would be your standard to make you believe in God?
Novel testable predictions.
Okay, fair enough. Surprised we haven't had any theists come up yet.
Because I have done weightlifting in the past, a lot, and it does not help me.
Have you ever done calisthenics?
I think so. That's like the dancing body weight stuff.
It's more things like your core strength, like your push-ups, your sit-ups, certain stretches, certain exercises. I could get you a list of them if you want, but it's the kind of thing that'll make you very lean without making you bulky.
Sounds boring.
It is boring. Not going to deny that. But the results definitely speak for themselves.
What could help me is hot blonde Instagram models. That's the only thing that lowers my stress.
Or the people on whatever social media say, hey, do this challenge, doing this exercise, and maybe I'll date you.
Yeah, simping online does not have a high success rate.
What? That's a crazy and novel concept. Who would have ever thought such a thing? I'm going to take this opportunity to make a joke and say people that simp online need Jesus.
Anybody have any arguments for God?
I think you might have scared them all away.
Probably.
Because the unlucky part for them is they can't just talk over you the whole time, which seems to be their general MO. Ooh, we have one.
Hello.
Hey.
Was this a Theist Helpline, or what was it again?
Yeah.
I don't pay much attention to the podium stages.
Doesn't matter. It's just, do you have any arguments or evidence for God?
Wait, what?
Do you have any arguments or evidence for God?
I don't think so.
Me neither.
Ooh, we have some with a seemingly Muslim profile picture. This will be interesting.
So are you guys atheists or Christians or what?
Yeah, atheists. Do you have any arguments or evidence for God?
Okay, so you guys are atheists, yes?
Yeah, do you have any arguments or evidence for God?
To prove that saying that God doesn't exist is wrong.
No,
I just
do
debated
you have any arguments or evidence that indicates your God is more existent than Santa Claus or fairies, leprechauns, magic pixies?
Yes.
What is it?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Well, before I begin,
no. That's where you begin. You don't get to do anything before. What is your evidence for God?
Okay, so there's something called the yardstick to determine what's true and false. If your yardstick is philosophy or false logic, any evidence I bring to you, you're not going to accept it based on that. It contradicts.
That's great. I don't care. You use your yardstick. What is the evidence for God?
No, I have to disprove your yardstick.
You don't get to do that. That's called the burden of proof fallacy. That's why Muslim debaters are dumb as rocks. They don't understand basic logic. What is your arguments or evidence for God? My worldview doesn't matter. Your worldview, you have the burden of proof. You have to provide the evidence for your belief.
Because if I don't,
Muslim debaters are dumb as shit. You don't get to ask questions about my worldview. You have the burden of proof. You have to provide evidence for your worldview.
Okay, my claim. Okay. I'm not going to even talk about Islam. My claim is that atheism is false.
Okay.
That's my claim.
I don't care.
And my claim is that saying that there is no God is false, and I'm going to prove that claim. That's my claim, and I'm going to prove it now. The burden of proof is upon me. I'm going to prove it. So basically, there's something called objective reality and something called subjective reality. Objective reality is the absolute actual truth. In atheism, if there is no God, then absolute actual objective reality cannot be established.
What does that even mean?
It cannot. It means the actual absolute truth, not what some.
No.
Okay,
I know
I'll give
what
an example.
objective reality means. All of your extra words are just gibberish. So in philosophy, it's called metaphysics. Metaphysics is the fundamental nature of reality. Without a God, there's all kinds of metaphysics like naturalism. You can have naturalism, no God. That's reality. Problem solved.
No, there's objective reality and there's subjective reality.
No,
Subjective
those aren't
is
things.
what.
Muslim philosophers are so dumb. In philosophy,
I
in
think it's 'cause
actual
we don't
academic
engage.
philosophy, there is this thing called metaphysics. Metaphysics is the fundamental nature
I
of
know
reality.
metaphysics are
Stop,
fucking
stop,
metaphysics.
stop. Metaphysics is what you're calling objective reality. Objective and subjective are ambiguous. They don't exist as actual distinctions. There is no subjective reality. That's not a thing. That's just stupid. There is objective reality. That's the
Okay.
only kind. There's the only reality is objective reality. Subjective isn't a reality.
Well, it isn't reality, but it's called subjective reality.
No,
okay,
it's not. No
so-
one calls it that.
so-
That's just dumb Muslim metaphysical gibberish.
That's not dumb. Have you read the books of philosophers?
Yes,
Have you
yes,
read the
I
books
have.
of?
Like the Stanford Encyclopedia of
Okay,
Philosophy that doesn't
okay.
say that anywhere. There's no subjective reality in the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. I'm telling you that's not a thing. Muslim philosophers are idiots. Learn basic philosophy. Objective reality is called metaphysics. Ontology. These are words philosophers actually use, not the stupid things you're learning from frickin' Muhammad Hijabs who doesn't know anything about anything.
I don't watch Muhammad
Great.
Muhammad
So
Hijab,
what
he's
is
a
your
Hijab.
evidence for God?
Muhammad Hijab, I'll tell you
I
something
don't
before I go.
care. I
Muhammad
don't
Hijab.
care about Muhammad
is
Hijab.
maybe
What's your
an
evidence for God?
Okay, basically, without God, objective reality cannot exist because if there's 1,000 people,
Metaphysical
1,000
naturalism.
people, maybe-
Metaphysical
or a
naturalism
billion,
is a form of fundamental nature of reality with no God. Can exist just fine. There's no
Okay,
logical
listen.
contradiction.
no, listen. If you, what matters is you understand the term that I'm using. You understand what it means. Okay, let me make my
Okay.
argument. Don't interrupt me. Okay, don't do petitio principii. Okay, basically, gods without a god, it is impossible, according to atheism, to establish objective reality, and it's impossible to prove or disprove anything from an absolute objective standpoint. Okay, from an
No, that's
absolute
wrong. So that's wrong.
because no, I'll explain you why.
No,
Because
no,
if there's a million,
Wait, stop. I can prove your entire argument wrong in one statement. I exist.
why aren't you
Wait, stop.
finish?
You said it's impossible under atheism to prove anything with absolute certainty. That's wrong. I exist. That is true even if there's no God. Therefore, you can know things without a God. Problem solved.
Okay, how do you know you're actually existing?
Because I cannot have the belief I exist and be wrong at the same time. Therefore, if I
think
have the
therefore
belief
I
I
am.
exist, I must exist.
Okay, I have a question. Can you disprove Zeus flying on a unicorn inside planet Jupiter? Can you disprove that
Who
Who
objectively?
cares? What does that have to do with atheism?
No, can you? No, can you? Can you?
Who cares? What
It's
is
relevant.
this? How is this evidence of your God? Like, who cares?
No, can you? Yes or no? Simple, yes or no. Can you? Yes or no?
This is not.
relevance does this have here?
Can you disprove that there are magical fairies up your butthole?
Yes, I can.
Okay, how?
But
Well, no,
But-
you can't. You can't. You just don't know anything about philosophy. So why do you
No.
think you can do that?
listen, this is the problem. The problem is that you're using your philosophy and your logic, your
Yeah,
subjective
academic
logic as the
professional
yardstick.
philosophy. Yes. So I use academic professional
Okay,
philosophy.
your academic professional philosophy, you're using it as the yardstick to determine what's right and wrong. Therefore, if I say something which contradicts your academic whatever philosophy,
Then I
if it
ask
contradicts
you
it, you're
to
just gonna-
clarify. So if you say something that disagrees with logic and philosophy, then I ask you, okay, how do you do that? So I don't just say you're wrong and say you can't do that, which is what dumb Muslim scholars do. I ask you to clarify. So I asked you, can you prove there are not magical pixie leprechauns up your butt? You said yes. Now, based on my knowledge of academic philosophy, I know you can't do that. But if you think you can, I'm going to ask, okay, how do you prove that? Go ahead.
Okay, I don't prove it through philosophy. I prove it through.
I don't care. I don't care what you
Fitra,
prove
the
it
natural
through. Like, just tell me the mains. What do you do
I
to
can
prove it?
prove it. I can prove it, but
Okay,
you might
go.
not accept my
That's
my way
fine.
of proving.
Go.
You
Just
might
do it.
see my way of proving wrong.
Okay, do it.
Okay, no, I'm gonna go back to the beginning because you're just adding side questions and you're interrupting me, and then you're adding more side topics.
Why are
Okay, we're
Muslims
going
so
back
dumb?
to the
You have to
actual-
stay on topic. you said you could prove.
No, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. You keep
You
changing
said-
the topic. Stop changing.
Wait, no. You said you could prove there are not leprechauns up your butt.
Why are you asking me when I'm you didn't let me finish. My point was that it's impossible, that it is not possible to objectively prove anything or disprove anything in atheism. Why? Because in order for something to be objective, it has to be the actual absolute truth. If there's a billion people and they all come, one says this is the truth, the other one says that's the truth,
People
one
don't
says
matter.
that's
We
the
don't
truth.
care what people say. So you think that under atheism you can't prove anything with absolute certainty, but with God you can.
I mean, your logic. How do you know your logic is the yardstick? How do you know your logic is
I
not
already
the truth? If
explained
there's
this.
other
I already explained this. I can't believe I exist and be wrong. That-
No, we're not talking about that. We're
That's
talking
logic.
about your logic.
That's logic.
No. Okay, so is logic objective or subjective?
Logic is a description of reality. Reality is objective.
Okay, so logic is objective, yes?
Logic is a description of reality. Reality is objective.
Okay, is that description of reality objective or subjective?
Descriptions are all descriptions. They don't matter. What is your argument? So
My
you're
question
you're
is,
saying that
Is your
atheism
logic,
can't
is your logic,
stop.
is your logic
stop.
the yardstick or is it not the yardstick?
Reality is the yardstick.
Okay, how do you determine reality?
Because I can't believe I exist and not exist. Therefore, I'm
No. Besides that, how do you
No,
determine
that's how I
reality?
determine it. I've just determined reality. I now have a basis in reality to
Okay.
build a worldview off
Okay,
of.
so your view is that God doesn't exist, yes?
Yes.
How do you prove that?
By showing that there's no more evidence for God than magical fairies up your butt. If there's no more
That's not
evidence for
disproving-
God than there is for leprechauns up your butt, then it's equally as justifiable to think that God is as non-existent as the leprechauns are as non-existent.
Okay, do you believe 100% absolutely
You don't
certainty
need
without
certainty
doubt?
for knowledge. You don't need certainty for knowledge. Google fallibilism. Fallibilism is the consensus among scientists and philosophers. You don't need 100% certainty for knowledge.
Okay, so you're basically saying that you believe that God doesn't exist, but there's a possibility, even if it's a very, very small possibility, that you're wrong, yes?
Sure.
Okay, there you go. You're speaking without knowledge. If you're not either you know 100%.
Again, this is why Muslims are idiots. I literally just explained this.
You-
Google fallibilism.
No.
The word fallibilism is the consensus among scientists and philosophers. You do not need certainty for knowledge. That means I can have knowledge and not be 100% certain. Okay? That's what fallibilism means. Now, Muslims are dumb and they think they have certainty. They don't, because they don't understand any of the philosophy behind the worldview. If you try to think you have certainty about anything, go ahead, tell me something you're certain about.
I'm certain I will die. I'm certain I'm alive. And I'm certain that there is a God, a creator who created me.
Right. And so,
Okay?
so you could be wrong about all of those things, but you think you have 100%
No, I
certainty.
can't, because I'm not limited by your atheistic philosophical.
No,
I'm not bound
you're
by that.
limited by reality.
You are.
So in order to show that you
Yeah,
could
I'm
stop.
bound by reality.
So in order to show you could be wrong about those things, all I have to do is give a logically possible alternative. So if it's logically possible for there to be a universe with no God, and you have 100% certainty in your brain that there must be a God, then that's called a contradiction. Because if it's possible for there to be a world with no God, then that means you can't, by definition, be 100% certain there is a God. Because guess what? That number, that there's a one universe that's possible without a God, means that it's a greater than 0% chance. So that's a contradiction. This is why philosophers who are actually educated in basic logic and philosophy are not Muslims, because they admit, yes, we don't have 100% certainty. You don't need 100% certainty. It's not relevant for anything.
Okay, I have one question. Everything you just said, are you 100% sure of that, or are you just 99.9 or whatever, and there's a possibility that you're wrong?
Did you not listen to what I just said?
No,
So-
I
so
just listened to what you said.
Muslim-
Everything you-
I just debunked your 100% argument. So anytime you reference 100%, I just debunked you. So
No,
only
everything
idiots,
you just
only
said-
idiots
Yes
think,
or no? Yes.
only
Yes or
idiots.
no? Yes
Stop,
or-
stop talking. Stop talking. Only idiots who don't know philosophy think you need to be 100% certain. You cannot be. You are not 100% certain about anything. You think you are. You're just because you're an idiot. You're not. You do not have 100%
Can I
certainty. You have less certainty
can I
than I
respond?
do because you don't understand philosophy and logic. If you understood
Respond.
philosophy
Can I-
and logic, you would know you're not 100% certain. You're just making crap
Can I
up.
respond?
Go ahead.
Can I
Yeah,
respond?
go ahead.
First of all, I don't believe in philosophy. That's what you need to
I can
understand.
tell.
So I'm not bound
100%
by
agree. 100% agree.
I'm not bound by your philosophy, and I'm not bound by your subjective logic, because logic, besides the 3 laws of logic, even the 3 laws of logic, do all philosophers agree upon them? That's another topic. But besides the 3
No.
laws of logic, all the other stuff from logic, if there's differing amongst the philosophers, how can you say it's objective? That's the first thing. The second thing is
Wait, that
you
doesn't
admitted.
matter. Whether people agree doesn't
No,
matter. Why do you keep?
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm
Okay,
almost
go
done.
ahead, go ahead.
Let me finish. Okay. Basically, you said what you said, that you debunked me and all that.
Yes.
But upon
100%.
your own view, you have to admit, upon your own view, according to your own view, there's a possibility that you were wrong in everything that you said. So do you admit that, or do you say that what you
I
said is the
admit
absolute
that there's a % chance that I am wrong. Just like, but there's a greater % chance you're wrong, which means based off of statistics, I'm right, you're wrong.
Okay, you saying that there's a greater chance that I'm wrong,
What
that's
don't you
according to your
understand?
view.
So your chances of being wrong because you don't understand logic are higher by many orders of magnitude than somebody who understands logic. So like you're trying to do calculus, but you can't add 1 + 1. That's how bad you are. And you're saying, but there's a chance that the greatest mathematician made a mistake in his big paper. Therefore, your bad math has a chance of being right. Well, no, because even if the greatest mathematician in the world could have made a mistake, that doesn't mean you're right. That would just mean he made a mistake. You could still be wrong. Everything you said could still be wrong, even if he could make a mistake. So the fact that you keep saying that, the greatest mathematician in the world has a % chance of being wrong, but therefore I'm right, that's something only a stupid person would say. It's called an argument from ignorance fallacy. He's wrong, therefore I'm right.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if someone else could be wrong or if they admit they could be wrong. That doesn't affect the chances that you are right. Doesn't make it any more or any less. So when you keep trying to critique other people and saying, well, you admit you could be wrong, that doesn't make you more credible. It doesn't add any value to your worldview. You're just too dumb to understand that because you don't understand philosophy. Like you said, you don't accept philosophy. You should probably do some basic research into philosophy so that you would understand that other people admitting they could be wrong doesn't actually make you right.
Okay, can I respond?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so what you said is basically assuming that your logic is correct. If you've studied logic,
which part of
there's
that
more than
wasn't
one
correct?
No, can you not interrupt me? Can you not interrupt me? Because
That's
you
important.
spoke.
That's important. So tell me if
No, listen.
Stop. This is a question for you. This is a question for you.
I didn't interrupt you.
I don't care. This is a question for you. Is it
Is this
correct?
how you debate? You don't like.
Yes, this is a direct question directly related to what you just said for clarification. So I'm
I'll
asking
answer
for your
your
clarification.
question
Stop talking.
after-
Stop talking or I'm going to mute you. Is my logic incorrect that if someone else says they could be wrong, does that make you more right?
I'll answer the question after I finish
Nope,
addressing your points.
you're going to
Is
answer it
that fine?
first. I'm just going to kick you off the stage. So is the
So
logic wrong?
you're not going to answer your points. Okay, yes, your logic is wrong, and I'll explain why.
Please go ahead.
The point. Okay, so basically, what you said is based, and it's based on and assuming that your logic is correct. Okay, and logic, as we know, there's more than one type of logic.
Explain to me how it's incorrect. Don't tell me it's based off of my. It doesn't make a difference. So
let me finish at least.
Stop. You can't say your logic is wrong. Stop.
Let me finish and then you respond. Can't you do that?
No.
Well,
Shut up or I'm going to mute you.
Laugh out loud.
Shut up or I'm going to mute you. In order to answer the question, of why this logic is wrong. You can't say because it's based on my logic. What you would need to do is provide an alternative, whatever logic you're using, and then show there's some kind of problem with what I said. You can't just say it's
If
wrong.
you
Stop.
complete-
You can't just say it's wrong because it's based on my logic. That doesn't work. You would need to show what the error is in the logic. You don't just get to say because it's based off my logic. That doesn't work. That's like saying math doesn't work because it's based off of math. Well, that doesn't show there's actually a problem with the math. The math could still work. You haven't shown an error in it. First, you need to say there is an error in the logic or the math you're using, which is here. You can't just say, well, you're
you would
losing
let me
logic.
finish, I could say that.
Okay. So
But if you're not going to let me finish and cut me off in the beginning, how can I tell you that?
well, because
okay,
if you say
finish.
one really stupid thing right at the beginning, we have to address that one first, and then we can go back to the main one. So here's the question. My question was, is I said someone else claiming that they are not 100% certain does not make you correct. And you're saying that's wrong. It does make you, if they admit they could be wrong, then the Muslim is correct somehow. Because magic pixie leprechaun fairy farts govern logic or something. So explain to me what is the error in logic I'm making here? Because if someone admits they're not 100% certain, therefore Muslim guy right doesn't work. Go ahead.
Will you let me finish without interrupting
Well,
me?
I'm going to interrupt you when you say something obscenely stupid so I can try to get clarification.
Okay, so if I make a claim, before I can present my evidence for my claim, if you interrupt me, then how is this a debate? This is just you controlling the debate and not letting me speak. That's
okay,
what
let
it
me
is.
educate you
Okay,
on how debate works. So if someone's trying to make an argument,
no.
You asked a question.
No,
you asked a
it's
question. I'm going to mute you.
10
You
minutes.
asked a question.
4 minute
So
rebuttal, 4 minute rebuttal. But
well,
you're the one who owns.
You don't get a rebuttal. So this is how debate works. If you make an argument, say your logic doesn't work, and they ask you, well, explain to me how my logic doesn't work. And then you say something like, well, because it's based on your logic. That's called circular reasoning. That's a circular reasoning fallacy. That doesn't give me any information about how my logic didn't work. So I'm going to have to stop you there and say, well, that doesn't tell me anything. I need better clarification. I need a better explanation of how my logic doesn't work. So stop on that one, go back, try again. So my question was, you made the argument that someone who says they are not 100% certain means their worldview is worse than yours or something. It can't ground knowledge. And I'm saying, okay, how does the fact that someone admits they're not 100% certain make you more right? That's the question. 1 second. There you go. Go ahead.
J Jump. If I make a claim and then right after my claim, I'm gonna bring my evidences, but you cut me off before
What's your evidence?
And don't let and you're not letting me
What's
speak.
your
How is this called a
evidence?
Okay. I'm gonna go back to your points because you can't just bring 10 points and then I can't
there's one
respond to them.
point. There is one point. How is the logic that someone else they're admitting is wrong makes you right?
Everything you said earlier is based on assuming that your logic is correct.
No,
okay, now
no, it's not. That's not an error.
Let me finish.
That's not an
that's
error.
my
Show
claim.
the error. Skip to the part where there's actually an error.
I'm gonna make my claim, then bring my evidences. Okay. So basically, what you said is based on that your logic.
Stop saying that. I've already debunked that stupid Muslim claim. The stupid Muslim claim has been debunked. So what is the error?
There's more debunked. You say it's debunked, but you're not even letting me speak.
I literally just debunked it. So you cannot say. You are not allowed to say you're wrong.
You're so weak. You can't even let me speak.
You are not allowed to say any longer that it's wrong because it's based on your logic. That doesn't work. That's a stupid Muslim claim that makes no logical sense. That's like saying it's wrong because it's based on 1 + 1 = 2 math. That doesn't work because 1 + 1 = 2 math does work. It works just fine. So you can't say it's an error because it's based on this system and you haven't actually shown an error in the system. Okay, does your tiny brain understand this? If you're saying your claim is wrong because it's based on system X, but you haven't actually shown any problems with system X, then that isn't an argument you're wrong. Okay, so first you have to say system X is wrong because, and you're using system X, therefore you're wrong. So start with logic, the logic of someone else claiming they're not 100% certain doesn't make Muslim apologetics more right. You have to show logically the problem with that statement. You don't just get to say it's based off of logic. That's a stupid thing to say. That means you don't understand philosophy.
His logic is correct. Now, how do you know his logic is correct or not? How do you know his logic is correct or not? Because there's more than one type of logic. There's multiple types of logic.
That doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
There are multiple types of idiots.
And there's the 3 laws of logic.
Okay, you're done. Next.
That was a little bit earlier. Yes.
Hey, Jim.
Hey,
How you doing?
stressed. How are you?
Yeah, I can hear that on your voice. Yeah, so I had a question. The question I ask many atheists is, what would convince you? Could you try to answer the question?
What would convince me that a God exists?
Correct.
Novel testable predictions.
Yeah, what would it look like?
It would be anything that you could tell the future with using the hypothesis that God exists. So like if we died and went to heaven, if Jesus came back a 3rd time or whatever, if Revelation, the stuff in the book of Revelation happens, like if I think a quarter of the Christian population magically disappears and their clothes fall on the floor or whatever, anything that is used or predicted by the holy ideology that gets it right, that science doesn't already predict or that no one else already predicts.
Yeah, I understand what a novel testable prediction is and how it works. What I'm wondering is would it be enough for you to be convinced? How would you test that you die and go to heaven?
Well,
that people that die go to heaven, how would you test that?
Well, once I die, I'm going to test that.
Yeah, like how else before you die? Is it possible for you to be convinced before you die?
Why would there need to be another way? So like if there's a prediction that if when you die you will go to heaven and see God, and then you die and you go to heaven to see God, that would be evidence. That would be confirmatory evidence of the hypothesis. There doesn't need to be another way to test it.
Oh, there is no other way than you to die.
Well,
that's the only way that you can think of for you to be convinced of the existence.
Stop. That was
the other ways.
Stop. I literally listed like 4 ways.
Yeah. So this one doesn't work. We agree on that
one.
That one
does work.
So let's go through all the ways.
So you're saying stupid things.
Can we?
That one does
Am
work.
I?
Yes, that one would work. If I died and I went to heaven and I saw God, that one would be evidence. That would work.
How? Okay, and you feel this is a good evidence, like something
that would be great evidence.
Should use.
What?
And when you know that God created, well, you know, like the God that you think you will meet when you die wants you to believe in him before you die.
Well, I don't care what the God wants.
Okay, you don't care. You want to be. The question is, what would convince you?
Yeah.
And you say, I will be convinced when I die.
Yeah.
That's one of the many ways that will convince me. Yeah, convincing someone usually is when you are alive, not when you're dead.
No, it's when you're conscious. So when you're a conscious entity, you can be convinced. And so if God exists and I wanted to be convinced of God's existence at any point in the time in my conscious existence, if I was given evidence, I would then be convinced. Being convinced has nothing to do with before or after you're dead. That's just irrelevant.
I'm saying usually, right? When somebody asks you a question, what would convince you?
No.
It's not. They are not waiting for you to say, "When I die, I will be convinced." It's basically when you ask a flat earther what will convince you, and he say, "Well, when I die, I will be convinced," and we would like, okay, that's not what I'm asking, right?
Well, then you could, if you're specifically asking what would convince you before you die, that's a different question.
Correct.
You can ask that.
Usually, that's what it means when we ask this question.
Well, no, not in the case of people who believe in an afterlife. That's not actually the case. But so if you're asking that, then the answer would be novel testable predictions. So like the revelation, that's the revelation happening. Jesus coming back.
So Jesus coming back. How would you know?
How would I know what?
We that he is back.
if the predictions made in the Bible about his resurrection, his second resurrection, came true.
How would you know that you understood correctly these predictions?
I can read.
Okay, so you feel like prediction in the Bible are understood by you correctly because you know how to read the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. And is there a way for you to check if your comprehension is the correct one? Or is it just because you want to, then therefore it's the correct one?
Yes, we can check with historians and people who are experts in the field on the original Hebrew, who can read the Bible, who can say, yes, your interpretation corresponds to what they meant with the original text.
Great. Have you done that for this Jesus coming back thing?
Yes, I've talked to many historians about the Revelation stuff.
Cool. So did they tell you that one of the things that happens when Jesus comes back is that you die?
No.
Oh, they haven't told you that.
No, that's not a problem.
Okay, so many Christians, most Christians, I mean, they are Catholics like I am, and therefore
have
they
you
say
actually spoken
that
to the historians about the original Hebrew and what it says? Because it sounds like you haven't.
I have spoken to priests and
So you haven't spoken to
other people.
So you haven't actually spoken to experts who actually understand the original Hebrew. You've spoken to priests who have a subjective interpretation based off of their fifis, and so you don't
No.
actually know what is said in the Bible.
They have the knowledge that I don't have.
The priests,
They study.
the priests
Yeah.
who don't know the original Hebrew, who don't speak Greek, who don't know the context of the original language or the original people group, and who are just making it up based off of their fifis.
All right. So you say that they are doing that, and you know that they are doing that
Yes.
because you had spoken to a priest,
Yeah.
and he's making up stuff up.
Well, no. The reason I know they're doing that is because if you ask them questions about what does the original Hebrew say, what is the actual
Mhm.
culture or facts about the culture at the time period, and they get it wrong every single time because they don't know about Hebrew or Greek or about the time period or about the historical facts or about the contradictions in the Bible, and they literally just don't know any of that. They're
Mhm.
uneducated on the topic. They don't know anything about the topic. So when you ask people who are experts in the topic, like historians and scholars who actually study Greek and Hebrew and read the Bible in Aramaic, they actually get the answers right, that they correspond to reality. And so they're the ones who actually know what they're talking about, not the priests. Priests have no idea what they're talking about, which means they're just
All
making
right.
stuff up.
Okay, so the version that you have from the people who were who learned Greek and Hebrew were that you didn't die when Jesus came back. Am I correct?
Well, yes.
Yes, with their interpretation of the Bible says when Jesus come back, you won't have to die. You won't have to make the choice between following him or dying, basically.
Yes.
Okay, what was their interpretation? What would happen? What is the prediction that they taught you?
1,000 years of something, 1,000 years of joy or something on earth governed by Jesus before the final days, something.
So you will live longer.
Yes.
Okay, it's the first time I hear this version. Okay, that's okay. So if you were to meet Jesus and then live 1,000 years, then you will be convinced that there is a God. Am I understanding correctly?
Say that again.
Sorry?
Say that again.
If you were to meet Jesus and then, or Jesus would be coming back and then you would live 1,000 years, then you would be convinced.
Sure, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be a great novel
good,
testament
good.
prediction.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I understand the miracle of what it would be a miracle, right? It's not something that happens often. It's an act of God on this earth. Do we agree?
I mean, I don't care whether it's a miracle or not. I don't think miracles are well defined, but if it's a novel prediction about the future, that's what I need for evidence. I don't care about the miracle part.
Okay. Do you agree that could we agree? I mean, could we agree that miracles are actions of God on earth?
Sure, you can define them that way. I don't care.
You don't, yeah, but just for the sake of conversation, so that we are on the same page. Okay, so if we agree that Jesus coming back, Jesus being God, or is he not God in your example?
Don't know. It's too confusing. Trinity is not a coherent concept.
Okay, cool. So let's say he is. Therefore, there is God acting into this world. There is a miracle happening to you, or at least to the people on earth, and a miracle would convince you. Am I correct right now, or am I saying something wrong?
I guess I don't really care about miracles. I just care about predictions. So if you're one of the predictions you call a miracle, then sure.
Yeah. Are all the predictions miracles? Basically, actions of God on this earth?
No, they wouldn't need to be. I wouldn't care if they were miracles or not.
I mean, from the list that you told, I heard earlier.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
I
They wouldn't
thought all
matter if
those
they were actually God or not. So God could make predictions about future events, like something about chips in the forehead or the palm or whatever. Like that doesn't need to be an act of God to be a prediction.
What if it happened in the past? Like there was a predictable, testable prediction that appears to happen, and then, well, the time passed. I mean, other events after we are now, and then all those has been now past. Is that something that you would find convincing?
If you
Or
could
does it need to
confirm it
be
was
in your future?
I mean, if you could
Mhm.
confirm it was an actual future prediction, that would be evidence.
Yeah, like you look into history, and then you find some prediction from God, and then the thing happened, and then well, you were born, and now we're now. Are these, well, if they are?
Yeah, like if we discovered there was a Bible written 10,000 years ago that said DNA is a double helix, the world is 4.5 billion years old, the universe is 13.8 billion years old. Yeah, that would be great evidence.
These kind of things. Yeah, okay. So they would talk about stuff that we couldn't predict using, well, yeah. Nah,
Sky
there
Daddy
is too
magic.
much luck. Yeah, I'm thinking of it, and I'm thinking of you know how those Nostradamus people claim that he was predicting the future.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, if he had got it right all the time, that would be great evidence of whatever his worldview was.
Yeah. But I don't think. Let me think if there is a way to be convinced. I don't know if there is a way to look at the history in the past, and two events. One will be what is written in the Bible, and the second one would be what really happened. Make them coincide, and not say it's just a coincidence. It's not really prediction.
I have no idea.
We would need to have the time stamp or something, the date, the time, and it's a second, like too much precision in the prediction.
No, that wouldn't be too much precision. That would be sufficient amount precision to know it was an actually prediction, which an all-powerful being would be capable of pretty easily. Like if God knows everything, he'd know Donald Trump will be president in year 2020. He could just written that in the Bible somewhere, no problem. It's not. Is that too much for God? Is God too impotent to be able to do that?
Yes, he can't. So,
okay then.
Yeah. So when you understand where the trouble is coming from, it's coming from the fact that you think that the God you need to be convinced of is the God that knows everything.
Well,
Am I understanding correctly?
No, that was just the typical understanding of the Christian God. I don't care. Any novel predictions is fine.
You don't care if he knows everything.
No, I don't care if he knows everything.
So when you say that he should be able to make a prediction as
well, that's if he was an all-knowing, all-powerful God, that would be the case. So that's only if.
Yeah. But well, since is not such a thing, we can agree that the testable prediction that you are asking for is not is not possible, right? You're asking for him to draw a square circle, basically.
Yeah, sure. If God is God, if your God is too stupid to know facts about the future, then yeah, he wouldn't be able to predict facts about the future. So you'd have to probably find a different kind of prediction.
Stupid.
Yes.
You need to use the stupid word here.
Well, yes, like clearly, if he
Why?
created the universe and can't predict the future, I mean, yeah.
Do you feel
Yeah.
like your argument is not strong enough that you need to use stupid?
Well, stupid doesn't either add or subtract any strength to an argument. It's just a colorful
Okay.
language.
Okay. I thought you were diminishing the power of God by using the stupid word and cursing at him because you felt like he was too strong, and then you needed to diminishing him a little
No,
bit.
you said
for
the
your
creator of the
argument to
universe
be-
doesn't is incapable of knowing facts about the future. Yeah, he's got to be pretty stupid.
Correct.
Yeah, like he made it.
He's gotta be.
Yeah, like if he made the universe and he doesn't know what's going to happen in the future, he's got to be
Mhm.
pretty dumb. Like, what if you didn't know what was going to happen in the future? Why did you make the universe? What was the point? Like, because you obviously just had no idea. So what was the point of making it in the first place? It's just you could have just farted it out for fun, see what would happen,
Mhm.
trial and error. Like, what are you doing?
Do you know? Do you think that he knows? Do you think he's still stupid if he doesn't know how to draw a square circle?
No, that's a logical contradiction. So that would be different than creating a universe and knowing what's going to happen in the future of the universe you create. That's not a
So,
logical contradiction there. No logical contradiction.
What if it was?
It's not. So a logical contradiction
Yeah.
is saying P and not P. And I never said P
Correct.
and not P. I said God
You-
created a universe and knew what was
Mhm.
going to happen in the future after he created it.
There it is.
What's the P and not P in that one?
Prediction about the future.
That's P. Where's the not P?
No, prediction is P, and the future is not P.
Okay, so
Those two things are
okay.
contradictory to each
philosophy.
other.
We
They are
have
not
to
the
go
same
back. We
thing.
got to go back for a second. So basic philosophy. P in an argument is a variable. Variables represent the same thing. So P and not P would be like God and not God. So the P represents God, and then the God is in the first part P God and not P not God. So you can't say P is predictions and P is future confirmation. Those are two separate things. Those are not the same thing. Those can't be P and not P because those are not the same thing. P and not P, like a round circle or a round square. A square is by definition a thing that does not have the property of being round. So if you're saying it is a square and not a square, that's P and not P. Saying it's predictions and they are confirmed is not P and not P.
Prediction, future is not knowable, so the things that we don't know for sure, and prediction is things that we have knowledge of.
Absolutely
Not
none of that
P.
was anything I said.
Okay. So P would be we don't know what the future is, and not P would be we do know, or the other way around. Doesn't work?
No, it doesn't, because I never said that.
Oh,
I said
okay.
my argument is God created the universe and knows
Yeah.
all the things that are going to happen in the universe.
Yeah, and I disagree with the second part.
Right, but it's not a contradiction. There's no square circle. There's no P and not P.
In the prediction about the future, on that phrase, not about the God created the universe and he knows about the future. It's not where I am as talking about. I'm talking about the prediction about the future, meaning able to draw a square circle. That's the analogy I'm making.
Right, and your analogy doesn't work. So, like the sentence,
Okay.
the sentence, there is a round square. It's not a square circle. Those are square and circle are two different things. The contradiction is a round square. There can't be a round square because a square is by definition a thing that is not round. And so if you add a round to it, it's therefore a square and not a square, P and not P. Now, my statement was God created the universe and would know all of the facts of what would happen in the future. There is no P and not P there. There's no contradiction in something creating the universe and knowing all the things that'll happen in the future. For me to have a round square kind of analogy, I'd have to say God created the universe and did not create the universe. That would be a P and not P. That would be a round square. But I didn't say that. I said God created the universe and knew all of the facts of the future. Another P, I could say God knew all of the facts of the future and did not know all of the facts of the future. That would be a P and a not P. That would be a round square. But saying God created the universe and knows all of the facts of the future, there's no P and not P. There's no round square there. But nothing in
I
that
agree.
sentence.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. So could we talk about those two phrases? Not the things that you said, but the two phrases I want to oppose.
What are the two phrases you want to oppose?
God is able to predict the future, and God is able to draw a square circle.
Okay. Because predicting the future isn't something I said God could do. Predicting the future is something I would need to be convinced of God. So God wouldn't need to predict the future. He would just know the future.
What's the difference between predicting and knowing?
A prediction is something you say will happen and get it right because someone doesn't know it. So like it's a prediction from my perspective because I don't already know what's going to happen.
Okay, so if God were to tell you you will eat hamburger yesterday tomorrow, he would predict your future,
Sure.
right? And on his worldview, he would just know the future.
Right.
He's not predicting.
Right.
Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying? Okay, I understand correctly. Okay, yeah. So what I wanted to I want to keep the conversation on our end, not God's hands,
Okay.
because we are trying to find things that are convincing that God exists. And one of those things that you find convincing, if he was able. Sorry, I'm French, and sometimes words are coming in the wrong order.
Sure, no problem.
in my head, so I have trouble with the English from time to time.
Just yeah.
Sorry
So
about
like
that. So,
an example would be if you pray and you could heal people who are amputees. So like if you pray to God and he heals, a leg regrows,
Yeah.
great evidence. Happens every
Wait.
time. Phenomenal evidence.
yeah, that's another one. I want to stick with the we went through that you dying and meeting God, and then Jesus coming back, and then we disagree on what happened when Jesus comes back, and then we are talking about God being able to predict the future.
Yeah, so that would
right
be an
now.
example
And
of predicting the
if we go
future.
to
So like if
and being able to heal amputees, that's another subject.
no,
I don't
that's
want to
predicting. That's an
delve too
example of
much in
predicting the
the-
future. So if you can say, I believe God exists. If God exists and I pray to him, he'll heal this amputee's leg. You pray, amputee's leg regrows every time. That would be great evidence. That's a prediction of the future. Because you're predicting the future.
Yeah.
You're saying if God exists, I predict this is going to happen in the future. God isn't predicting anything. He's not the one doing the predictions. You're doing the predictions.
Of course, yes, we are the one who claims that this will happen
Yeah.
if we do that. Right? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, when you say that we are able to predict the future based on what God says, basically that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
We are able to predict the future based on what God says. It for me, it's similar to say that we are able to draw a square circle
What?
based on what God says.
So he couldn't.
That's
go
why
based off
I
of.
want to
So-
have this comparison between square circle and predicting the future. Predicting the future is a nonsense as much as square circle.
So you're saying there's a contradiction between
Predict
reading
the
God's
future.
word and expecting it to be true in the future.
No, between predict and future. Between those two words, there are contradiction as much there are contradiction between a square and a
You
circle.
can't have a prediction between those two words. You can't have a contradiction between those two words because they're different words. Again,
Can't we?
P and not P. Predictions and not predictions.
Square and circle.
No, that's a square and not square. Circle again, it's a round square. The contradiction you're trying to describe is of a round square. Round is the opposite of a property of a square. Squares are not round. So it's square and not square.
Future.
There is no
Predict.
there's no
Knowable,
contradiction between
not knowable.
there's no contradiction between future
That's
and
where the
predict.
contradiction is, T-Jump.
What?
That is where the contradiction
There
is.
there is no
Predict
contradiction.
Not knowledgeable.
What?
And future is not knowledge.
That makes no sense. Predictions aren't knowledge. You're not predicting something because you already know it. You're predicting something you don't know. You expect to be true. So there's no contradiction between future and predict. Literally no contradiction there. That's what all science does this. They predict about things in the future. It's all science does. All science is already doing this. If there is a contradiction between future and prediction, science wouldn't work. But science does work because there's no contradiction between predicting the future. It's literally all science ever does.
I understand. Okay, so I thought you were talking about the far future, not the close one.
Both. They're the
You're
exact
talking
same. There's
about-
no
yeah,
difference
yeah,
between the far future and the near future. They're the same
understand.
thing.
Science can make prediction about the future that is far ahead.
Yes,
millions
like
of years
billions of
from
years.
now.
Science makes predictions about what will
Yeah.
happen in billions of years.
Have you how old are you, Tijan?
Potato. I'm potato old. What does that have to do with anything?
What is the biggest size between the prediction of science and the finding of the science that you have witnessed during your life? Is that that's the question?
Let's see. So they predicted that if evolution is true, they would find a transitional fossil between a fish and a lizard in a particular desert, and they used the evidence of something 100 million years ago in order to make a prediction about something they would discover that was 20 million years old, so 80 million years or so.
All right. Okay, I understand better what you mean by predicting the future with science. You based on what we found 18 million years before. We found the future in 18 million years, but not the future from today. It was just a difference of 18 million years between two findings in the past.
No, so they made a prediction about evidence they had from 100 million years ago, and they predicted if this evidence is true as a confirmation of evolution, then in 20 million years or 80 million years, there'll be a transitional fossil. Luckily, they could just go back and look and discover that because it already happened. But they could have made that prediction if they existed 100 million years ago, and that would have been fine.
Okay. It's not about what will happen in their future. It's what will happen in the future of the findings that they had.
Do you have an actual point here?
Yeah. It's about
like the Bible. The Bible would work the same thing. So again, if we discovered a Bible that was 10,000 years old that said DNA is a double helix, the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, the universe is 13.8 billion years old. These predictions were made 10,000 years ago when the book was written, and we already know them now. But if we discovered the book now, we would know that the book was evidence of predictions, because even if it didn't happen in their time period, it was still confirmed. It doesn't matter if the predictions happen in your life or not. It's irrelevant.
Okay, cool. All right. So God should be able to predict the future. He should be able to write something in the Bible that is appearing next after with enough specificity, not specificity.
Yes, specificity. That is correct. That is the correct word. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Enough details,
yes,
right?
Yes. Specificity. Specificity is the same word. Yes.
Cool. Thank you very much. So enough specificity so that we won't be able to say, well, it's just because of luck.
No, you can always say it's because of luck. That doesn't matter. Like, you can always say it's because of luck, but that's irrelevant. If you get it right consistently at a higher rate than chance, that's good enough. That's evidence.
Oh, okay. Higher rate than chance. So more than one prediction is necessary because we need more than one time that he is correct in his prediction.
Probably.
That we find in the Bible.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Just the exact same standards that are required of any scientific hypothesis.
All right. So predictions that are in the Bible are predictions that are about morality. So what they would predict is that you will suffer if you do not follow these rules or these things that I tell you to not do.
Sure.
That are bad.
Sure.
So those are predictions of what we can find in the Bible, and then we can also observe in the future that population that do not observe those rules suffer and pretty
I
much
do
die.
not suffer when I eat lobster. I find it very enjoyable. I do not suffer when I have mixed fabrics. Those are also really nice. I
Yeah.
don't suffer from prostitution. That's pretty fun. I like that. It seems like the Bible got most of these things wrong.
So again, we go back to those Greek and Hebrew translation, understanding of what are those prediction, which are the things that are predicted as wrong to do, and which are not predicted as wrong
Okay,
to do.
what are the things that you
And,
think is a prediction?
What are the things that you shouldn't do today? Is that your question?
No, what are the things that you think are a prediction in the Bible of things that if you do them, it'll be bad or something?
Well, let's say the 10 Commandments, like stealing, killing. Lying,
Don't hold anything
uh,
above God.
Oh yeah, the idolatry in French.
Yes,
Idols.
we have tons of those.
Yeah.
Most societies that have those do just fine.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what an idol is. An idol is the thing that tells you this is good or bad.
No,
and
no,
drive you.
no, literally no.
We disagree on what an idol is.
Well,
What is an
an
idol?
idol in Hebrew is anything that you worship above God. Anything you love more than God. That's it.
I just
Yeah.
also want to point out that we have a very specific American version that does fabulous here.
Yes.
What do you mean? T-Jump is an idol?
No, we just have an
that works
American
too.
Idol. I'm sure
That works
at
too.
all of it.
Oh, American Idols. Sorry, the the show. You're talking about the show. So sorry,
Listen,
I didn't get that.
it is a phenomenon.
A lot of money and entertainment. Okay, so worship more than God are what makes is the stuff is made of idols.
Thou shalt
When
not steal. People steal all the time, and they're billionaires. Let's see what else we got. Thou shalt not make any graven image. People make graven images all the time, like of everything. Not affected. No negative effect. Thou shalt not take the Lord thy God name in vain. God is a dumbass. Screw God. God can suck my balls. I just did it 3 times, doing totally fine. No effects. Literally, that happens every day in every society. Let's see. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. Literally, no one keeps the Sabbath holy. People watch football on holy.
You're joking.
No, this is all honor thy father and mother. No, people do not honor their father and mother at all. Thou shalt not kill. Many murderers are just fine. Literally, most dictators kill. Kim Jong-un kills just fine. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Well, then there's 50% of America gone.
Kim Jong-un is something that you want for the whole world to do.
No, your claim was
honoring your father and mothers. You would love your children to not honor you, and stealing you would love to be stolen.
Your claim
from you, and also idols. You're making a list. Allow me to make the list back, right?
So your claim was that if you do these things, it'll be bad. You will suffer. People do these things all the time. Thou shalt not covet. Like, wow. People do these things all the time, and they do not suffer from these things. These things do not cause suffering. They do not cause a dysfunctional society. In fact, many of these are phenomenon of very functional societies. The more functional society, the more you have a lot of these things. So no, your Bible's prediction is incorrect that if you do these things, it will be bad.
How long before the effects takes place?
Well, so far it's the entire history of humanity. They haven't taken place, so debunked.
Okay, so if we pick one,
sure.
We start with the idols, and then you wanted to go through the others. Could we pick one of those things that you feel that if we do follow them, there is no repercussion on the society?
Sure. Remember the Sabbath day. Keep it holy. No one gives a crap.
All right. So
some societies only have 6-day weeks. They don't even have a Sabbath. It doesn't exist for them, and they're just fine for thousands and thousands of years. No effect. Zero effect.
So keep the Sabbath holy. It means take one day off.
It's not at all what it means. No, keep the Sabbath day holy means
Yes,
give one day to give reverence to God. That's what it means.
correct. So take one day off of what you usually do and make sure that you turn yourself towards the truth, the good, God.
Yeah, which people don't do. Again,
That's what
many
it
countries are
means.
atheists. Many countries don't have 7 days. Many countries don't have days off. Many people have days off and they don't use it for God. They watch football. Like most of the world does not do this and has not done this for all human history, and they were fine.
Most of the world do this, TJ.
No, they literally, by definition,
Right.
do not.
Okay. So when you say that they do not take a day off in
To
a
worship
week
God. They
or
don't. Okay, I'm done with this guy. I'm gonna go get some cereal.
oh, you're done. Okay.
Ix and
Bye.
Amy, you guys can take over for a bit.
Well, and what is up, y'all? I just wanted to know, Luke, if this is the reason why you believe in maybe the Christian God or any God. Is it this line of thinking?
Oh no, no. The reason why I do believe in God is the prime mover argument.
Oh, would you
So
be able to go over
my
why?
reason is different than TJ's reason for what would convince him. What convinced me was the prime mover argument, and that is the thing that happens to me. But yeah, for TJ it's different. It would be noble, testable predictions, things that will happen based on what is predicted in the Bible, and it's a different thing for him than for me.
Well, I agree, and I probably have similar standards, but I am open to argumentation. I just think that, well, would you like to go into things like the prime mover? Would you say it's something like begins to exist?
No, the prime mover is has no cause, the uncaused cause.
Okay, can you give your version of what the argument that convinces you?
Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry. I'm more than 43 years old, right? And have been convinced of God.
Listen, 40 is the
20.
new 30.
Sorry, what?
I said 40 is the new 30. It's okay.
Yeah. That's what they say. Any 10 years you add, you will reach like 10 years.
Listen,
That's what happens.
don't blow my cover.
Anyway, yeah. So what happens is this argument were presented to me more than 20 years ago, and I observed the arguments for and against, and made a choice. I made a choice which are the more likely to be true. Is it possible to have these infinite regress that they call, or is it more likely to have a maker, someone who make the rules? So some mind behind the rules that we
A
are.
mind.
Yeah, a mind. Yeah, like you know how we have chess. Chess is a game that have rules that needs to be followed, and if you don't follow the rule, you stop playing chess. And the argument was nature or physics, if you want to make a bigger picture than nature. Those are rules. They follow rules, and if you don't follow those rules, well, you're not doing physics anymore. You're doing metaphysics or something that are not physics anymore. So all of those two things, the chess gameplay or the game rules, chess rules, and universe rules, let's say, are require a mind. So yeah,
I agree with you that chess rules require a mind. However, can I ask, do you think that there's a difference between something like chess or maybe a different type of sports game, or say the laws of physics, and so the speed of light, or how the water cycle works, or how we get lightning, or things like that?
Is there a difference between those two? No, those are laws.
So you're saying they're exactly the same. That
Not exactly. Those
okay.
one
I don't want. I
exactly
don't want
means
to straw man you. I don't want to straw man
yeah,
you. That's
yeah.
true. So let's try and say this correctly. But you're saying that they're really on the same playing field. To keep on with our sports analogy.
Yeah, yeah. One of those laws are these other laws that you that are not the laws of physics are created by humans, and there are laws of physics that are created by God. That's the difference between those two.
Can I tell you why I disagree? I
Um,
disagree because I think that one comes from a mind and one comes from a what. And we're able to discover those whats very specifically through science.
what? From
Yes,
a what?
that's true. From a what? That's right.
Okay, sounds like a question from a what? From a what? All right. What's a what? An example. Could you tell me comes from a what? Something that comes from a what?
So, what would be like? Well, I'll give you both. We used to think lightning came from a who, but we slowly learn that lightning comes from differences in weather. We learned that things like tornadoes, instead of the anger of gods, is actually things like hot air and cold air fronts pushing together. And
So
so it's
yeah, tornadoes and lightnings comes from a what?
comes from a what? It doesn't come from a
Cool,
who.
cool. And you're saying that laws of physics comes from a what?
Comes from a what?
Oh shit. The reason why I'm laughing is because
Oh,
you picked the lightning and you say we have a physical explanation of how lightning works instead of the theistic explanation of how lightning works.
mhm.
So we had a who, Zeus, and now we have a what, differential potential and those kind of thing. So because we have laws of physics, the laws of physics took the place of Zeus. Basically, that's what you're saying. Am I understanding correctly?
I am, and I'm saying that
Yeah.
if we were to just extrapolate this out to universe creation, it's not really going to be a creation. It's not going to be a whom. It's going to be a what.
Still have to follow some rules and rule
Sure.
maker, but there are rules that don't need creators. Yeah, I do agree that the rules of logic, for example, do not need a creator. They have not been created per se. They have we still have to follow them if we want to make sense of our lives. But yeah, it's a rule, the rules of logic. Yeah.
Sure.
So you're saying like the rules of logic, all the laws of physics are created as such, like the rules of logic.
Yes,
Is that
and
what you're
the
saying? Yeah.
laws of logic, honestly, are things that make us not go insane. It's basically saying everything that is, everything that is cannot, and something can't be and not be at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
and
I
so,
do
yes.
agree. It would be insane if we threw out the laws of logic, like the guy earlier said. Logic does not work.
And sure, and I can grant all of those, and I'm still saying not a who, but a what. I might as well make it a bumper sticker.
Yeah, not a who, but a what. Let me write it down on my end. I like it. Not who, but what. and I will put a dot and a question mark. No, exclamation point and a question mark.
That is true.
And a slash. So yeah, what? Okay, you have this claim. It's a what, and this claim, as I understood it, is based on observation of what happened when we had a who, and then it was a what, right? in the
Yes,
past.
indeed, because it used to be prescribed when we didn't know something, in my opinion, not always, but when we didn't know something, it was very easy to say, who did it come from? And then
Mm.
we would fill in blank.
Yeah, and then since we did that many times in the past, there is a good reason to think that in the future we will find the what is the cause of the laws of
Yes.
physics.
And we would expect a sort of artificial laws to come from whom? So whether you call it soccer or football, it makes sense that that comes from a whom, because these are things that humans and other creatures have constructed. But when we try to put that to something like E equals MC squared, this seems to be more of us describing instead of prescribing.
Mm,
If that makes sense. And we're just describing what is. What is. But when you prescribe, you're saying, well, this is what I think should be.
correct. And it's a bad thing to prescribe? Or
It's not a bad thing to prescribe, but you could have your son say, listen, I know that the rules of football or whatever we want to call it are like this, but I don't like it like this. I like using my hands. And
yeah.
thus, how you can only say no as long as he agrees with you. And so that becomes much harder. But if you say, well, I don't agree that it's raining outside, well, you know, we could disagree with that all we want, but it doesn't matter who we are.
Yeah, I don't agree that Earth is spherical, right?
Exactly.
Likewise. So yeah, you could disagree as much as you want. There are things that are objective truth, and I guess that's what you are making a difference between objective and subjective.
Sure, I would say these are the laws of nature, and they separate us from, I hate to say the laws of arbitrary, but the laws of just minds. Because I think without minds, these laws would still exist.
Correct. There is a mind that in the Catholic religion, at least, there is a mind that do exist since forever, like eternal mind, the mind of God. That's who is the. That's why even if we humans disappear, there would still be a mind, the one that created the laws of physics, or at least the laws that created the laws of physics as we know it. You know, like there is in the Uncas cause, the beginning of beginnings, or the start of it all, there is a possibility that this universe that we live in, and with the logic that we follow and the laws of physics that we follow, are just a product of another universe, or
Sure.
a theory about quartz sliding or hitting each other because of fluctuation and whatnot, and then creating a universe out of it, and those kind of things. I say, yeah, well, those are still laws. Those courts do follow the laws, or this present universe was following some laws, and those laws were based on a creator, a who, not a what.
Well, it
And all
makes sense to me, but in both directions. I could see a multiverse in which there is I hate to say a higher order universe, but something that our universe is nested within, that our laws may be beholden even to that. There could be that this is the only universe, and it's hard. I know this is hard sometimes, even harder, I think, sometimes for people to conceptuate than a multiverse. It could be that time began 13.8 billion years ago, and there is no answer to what came before, because that is when causality began. What I would say I am skeptical of, I'm not saying that it's not, because there's always that 1%. That makes me agnostic, or an agnostic atheist, but it doesn't make sense to me to be a whom, because it would mean a whom, a bunch of whats, and then a whom again. It would almost be like a complex, and then simple, and then evolving back up to complex again. And so it could be that, but it would be, I guess, odd.
So God has rules that he needs to abide. One of the rules is logic. The other one is perfection. And those are the rules, basically, that God needs to abide to. And those rules are revealed to us by him. He is the one who says, I need to follow those rules. We do not understand or cannot understand who God is if he wasn't revealing himself to us. And the same thing applies to those whats that you claim there are. You claim there are whats, and you induce their existence based on the experience of what happens when we switch from a who to a what. And you say, okay, let me follow this train of thought to the beginning, if we like you say, time and make sense as long as I can, and then we'll get a what at the beginning. I don't think it helps you move forward having a what and not knowing what the what is. The what doesn't tell you anything, right? He doesn't communicate with you. This laws of nature or laws of physics do not tell you anything. He doesn't communicate with you. You find them out
Well,
when you seek them out, but they do not communicate with you.
I
They
agree
don't give
with
information
that.
on
It's
them.
not speaking to you one-on-one like, hi, Bob, I'm the information.
Yeah.
But what it is saying is, why does why do objects fall to the ground? And we can look out a little bit further and we can say the what is that we are falling. The earth is falling. It's in an orbit around the sun. And so because we have the system of gravity, objects fall to the ground. And we could have very easily made up a complex story about a whom, but this what actually explains the phenomena.
Gravitation explains the phenomenon. Yeah, we could say, yeah, there is someone, an entity pushing back, right? Is that what you're saying?
We could indeed.
Yeah, and we would be wrong. So the thing is, I talked about talking one-on-one. Well, you said one-on-one, and I like the idea of having a heart-to-heart with God. Many people claim they do have this one-on-one with God, and
Sure.
the authors of the Bible were such people.
Well,
And
I'm interested in that because one of the things you said is cannot reveal. Maybe I misheard, but God cannot reveal. And it's just odd because God used to reveal very specifically himself all the time.
yeah, so it's can. He can reveal. Maybe I misspoke.
Oh, it's he can reveal. Okay.
Yeah, he can speak to us. Yeah.
Oh my. Has he spoken to you?
Well, in a manner of speech, yeah. It's a again, it's a way to reduce what happened to something understandable with words and ideas that are conveyed to one another. But yeah, he spoke to me.
Oh,
What
I mean,
did he say? What did he say?
I mean,
Let's
come
ask
on, you
questions.
knew that was coming, 100%.
So he said I love you. Basically, it's like, what?
Well, you
That's all?
better get him flowers.
Don't you tell me the numbers for the next lottery or whatever? You just say I love you. What? Anyway, it was more than enough. This feeling that you have, your senses are overwhelmed. Anyway, that's another subject. It's
I will
the
say
feeling-
I have tried ecstasy once, so that might be. Are we going in the right direction?
ecstasy, ecstasy. I remember the good times, good times. Anyway, it's different. What you feel or what happens when you're on ecstasy. Well, it's different for each person. I
Which
would
one's
say.
better?
Anyway.
No, you don't have to answer that. Okay, John.
Yeah, it is better. It's different. The feeling of fulfillment that I still feel empty when I do drugs. When I did drugs, sorry, there was this feeling of there is something missing. I need to do something to fill this void, and I need to move. I need to eat. I need to talk to that person or touch this one, depending on which drug I took. I needed to do something, and
That is true. You are explaining functions that we all do need to do.
yeah, but because of the drugs, for me to be happy or to be
Gotcha.
fulfilled, I needed to do something. But when people meet God, they or God talks to them, they do not need to do something. They don't feel the need to do something.
He buys
They
you.
are fulfilled without doing anything. Anyway, that's a different subject. It's a fun one. It's a fun one to explore. But I would like to explore this question, this talking. The universe doesn't talk. This is my phrase, right?
Okay.
You have not a who but a what, and I have the universe doesn't talk, and that's the thing that I would need to be able to agree that it is a what. How would I know if it is not shared with me? How would I have this confidence to say it is a what?
Well, I would say it depends on what we're looking at and the time period, because whom's really came in for us 4.5 billion years ago, and then even stronger about 2 billion years ago of multicellular life. And so when we're talking about before then, it is much harder for me to understand an organism that is a mind that is just out there, that doesn't have a brain, or is outside of what we would refer to as time and space.
Yeah, he doesn't. You mean God doesn't have a brain? Is that what you said?
Well, does God have a brain?
No, he doesn't. Well, he did have at one point, but anyway, it's a tricky question. He does and doesn't at the same time.
Oh my. He's
Because
saying
time,
he has a pee and not pee at the same time?
yeah, that's God for
Oh,
you.
we're going back.
It's nonsensical. When we talk about infinite and infinity and nonsense, is bound to happen at one point or another, and God is infinite. So yeah, there is nonsense in it. The 100% God, 100% human that Jesus was, this kind of nonsense. It's impossible to have two at the same time and make sense. It is one of those things that we do say, okay, well, that's what he said, and he's not lying. God is not a liar. He doesn't lie. Therefore, it must be true that he was 100% God and 100% human.
I've always can I just point out I've always found that claim odd. I keep on using that, just the whole he cannot lie thing,
crazy.
because he is all powerful, right?
The most powerful.
The most powerful.
Yeah.
And do you think lying is a capability?
No, it wouldn't make sense. Lying is not saying the truth, and whatever God says is true. So no, it's a square-circle thing.
So it's like one of those. It's not even like liar, liar. If he says something, even if it's not true, it becomes true. Or he
cannot-
just can't. It is like liar, liar. He can only
So
say.
what if God says this statement is false?
Yeah. It's the same thing as trying to draw the square circle. Doesn't make sense. He can't say that phrase, additional, as much as he can't draw a square circle. It's nonsensical.
See, but anytime I hear when an agent can't lie, I'm always going to be like, "Oh, baby girl, is that what he told you?"
So like what happens? Do his lips just stop moving or something? Does his
Yeah.
brain just physically force him to stop saying the words?
I mean, if Jesus were to try to say that, this kind of thing. Yeah, is that your question, T-Jump? Or
Yeah. So God's gonna say, everything I
Yeah.
say is a lie. What happens? How
Yeah.
does he stop from saying that?
So somebody would say, could you say that? They will go to Jesus and says, could you say everything I say is a lie? And I think he would say no.
Well, I don't care what he would say. Let's say
That's how it
he
would
just
happen.
forms the words on his lips, so he's going to actually say it. What stops him?
The same thing that stops us to draw a square circle. So you put your pen on the paper, and
Well,
then
no,
you stop
nothing is
because
stopping
there
him
is
physically.
nothing.
Like if you start saying the words, you can say the words just fine. There's no problem there.
When you say you mean Luke?
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm not God.
I don't care, because if nothing is stopping you from saying the words, then nothing's stopping God from saying the words either.
Yes, there is something stopping God from saying the words.
What?
Logic.
Logic stops God from saying English words?
Correct. Thank you very much for your intervention, T-Jump. it's funny. That's how sometimes when you talk to people and they start laughing because they don't have any more arguments, you know.
To us,
It happens, but yeah, there are things that you cannot do. When I tell you that you take a pen and draw, you can draw, and then I say a square circle and you stop. Why can you not draw? There is nothing preventing you to draw, and you can just draw a line and say this is a square circle.
Actually, you can
And
draw a
then-
square circle.
Yeah.
So
then-
what you have to, because all
then-
words, right, are just descriptions of concepts. So if we just change the definition of square and change the definition of circle, we
Correct.
can easily draw a square circle.
There you go. I was getting at that, and you would draw a line and say this is a square circle, and then somebody would say, well, no, it's not a square circle, and then we disagree on what words means. That's what you. that's how it would happen. Anyway, yeah, the semantics, ideas, words are tools to convey ideas, and then the idea of God lying doesn't convey anything.
can I have just another question, Luke? Would there be something that changed your mind or would change your mind?
Oh, at this point, I've been talking to many atheists who had really good, reasons for why they stopped believing, or how it happened to the idea of God and those kind of thing, and found them nonsensical. And anyway, good conversation with those atheists out there. And based on those conversations, I tried to create another, because I had one myself before I talked to them. As anything in my life, if there is a true statement, I should be able to say what would convince me otherwise, right? And when you ask me what would convince me that there is not a God, I would say the laws of physics do not apply. There is no sense. I will pick up my coffee cup and drop it, and it wouldn't drop, and it wouldn't drop sometimes. So for no apparent reason, the laws of physics stop happening like it does in dreams.
That's a
And
stupid reason.
that's
One,
how-
that's actually going to
What?
happen quantum mechanically. That does happen. Secondly, You can have a universe with naturalism and has laws of physics just fine, and they work every single time. You don't need a God for that. So that's a dumb reason. But we should let some of the other people speak who haven't gotten a chance to speak yet. Tim,
All right.
or
What novel testable predictions convinced you atheism was true?
the lack of novel testable predictions for God convinced me atheism is true.
Oh, so you're special pleading?
No. Because atheism isn't a positive claim. God is a positive claim.
That is special pleading.
No, it's not.
Okay.
If you have a positive claim God exists and you have no way to show your God is more than imaginary, then your God's imaginary. It's that simple. Like naturalism
find it
makes
weird.
predictions. So
Exactly. We have methodologies of actually doing novel predictions. But I always find it weird when we have a panel that's like, prove your God. And it's like a quasi form of just bitching or complaining, which is to not actually present evidence, but try to say, well, why do you believe in atheism? I have multiple reasons. However, we're trying to ask, why do you believe in a God?
or Hime, is your mic working?
Yeah, it's on now. Alright, I'm gonna send you my syllogism real quick.
Don't send it to me, just say it, because I'm not gonna read anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it in the chat, but I'm gonna read it out to you.
Just read. No one reads the chat.
Nobody reads the chat, okay. So basically it's just premise 1, whatever is contingent at one time did not exist. Premise 2, if everything is contingent, then at one time nothing existed. Premise 3, if at one time nothing existed, then nothing would exist now. Premise 4, something exists now. So premise 5, so not every being is contingent. Premise 6, so there is a necessary being. Premise 7, either the necessary being gets the necessity from another, or necessarily of itself. Premise 8, there cannot be an infinite regression of necessary beings that get their necessity from another. Premise 9, so there is a necessary being that exists necessarily of itself.
So a lot of your premises are wrong.
Yeah, why?
So like the first one, you says contingent means something about if something's contingent, it didn't exist forever or something. What's
premise 1? Let me read it out for you again. Is that whatever is contingent at one time did not exist?
Yeah, that's false. So things can be contingent and still exist forever. So the first one's false.
Yeah, why?
Because things can be contingent and still exist forever. Being contingent doesn't mean it isn't eternal.
Yeah, do you know what contingency means denotatively?
Yes. So like, do you know what a brute contingency is?
Yeah, why? Wait, what? Can you give an example, actually?
Example. It's Google brute contingency. It's a thing in philosophy.
Yeah, I'm asking for what an example of a brute contingency would be.
I don't need
wanna,
an
like,
example.
look
It's
it
a
up.
logical possibility. So like giving an example of contingent,
logical
there's
possibility?
no examples of contingent or necessary
I'll
things.
just
It's all
question
made
the
up.
PSR.
So there is no such thing as necessary contingent. But so they're all just philosophical ideas in our heads. And brute contingency is a contingent thing that's existed forever without any cause. Like a pineapple.
Okay,
A pineapple
so
in a
I'm
universe that's
asking-
existed on its own forever.
Yeah, I'm just gonna question the PSR of the brute contingency. You know what the PSR is, the principle of
Yeah, which
sufficient
is
reasoning?
rejected by the vast majority of philosophers. Yeah, I know what the PSR is.
Okay, so then I would just ask you, why would this pineapple exist forever? Because we know how pineapples
It's literally answered by the word brute contingency. Brute means exists without
if the
reason or
PSR
cause.
doesn't.
The PSR is garbage. The PSR is rejected by the vast majority of philosophers. It's a garbage principle. It's not applicable in anything in philosophy. It's just a bunch of theistic garbage.
What vast majority of philosophers reject the PSR, by the way?
From the Phil Surveys paper, 2022, specifically about the PSR, vast majority of philosophers, academic professional philosophers rejected.
The vast majority of philosophers that took that survey, or is it
Of
the
all of
vast
them,
majority
of all academic
philosophers?
philosophers, the vast majority. The only people who really accepted are crazy theists who aren't accepted in any
You sure
rational.
about that?
Yes, I'm very sure about this. Yes, it's literally a conversation we've had with
Yeah,
professional
I'll ask
philosophers.
you if you can show me it.
I don't care. I gave you a reference.
You don't
If you don't
care
like
to
the
me?
reference, that's too bad for you. You can go cry to your mama. I gave you the reference. I gave you the facts. PSR is garbage. Whether you accept it, that's up to you. Don't care. You have a garbage epistemology.
So me asking you for the evidence to suffice your claim,
No,
and
I
you're
provided it to
rejecting
you,
by
kiddo. I
saying-
provided it to you. Phil surveys paper,
But you haven't
largest
filled it.
paper.
I'm asking you to see
I just crushed you, kid. You've been debunked. Phil surveys paper,
Are you
largest
gonna show
poll of
me the
academic
source?
philosophers there is. This is the best evidence there is to answer that
Are you gonna
question.
send me the source?
I just told you. You're done, dumbass. Phil surveys paper, largest poll of professional philosophers ever done. Most people reject the PSR. If you don't know that, you're a dumbass. You have a dumbass epistemology that dumbass theists use that has no applicability in anything in any rational discourse. Bye-bye. Next.
Hey, T-Jump.
Hey,
Hey, Amy. Hope you guys are having a good one.
What is up?
So I had a couple of quick questions for you. I was hoping I could just get your thoughts on these. I've just kind of been stuck on this. Under like a classical theism view, with God being all of the omnis, all powerful, all knowing, all that good stuff. Does it make any sense for him to create anything at all? I mean, he's self-sufficient.
that's the paradox of perfection. If God's perfect, and if he creates anything that makes things less perfect, why would he create anything?
Right. I mean, that just kind of puts most of classical theism on the edge as a whole. And what was the other one? What would be one of your better explanations for early Christianity without like a resurrection? I mean,
People are stupid and make
how would
stuff
you
up.
explain that? Fair enough.
Same as Mormonism, same as every religion. Scientology. Xenu and the nuking of the volcanoes and the clearing of your clear souly stuff of the evil souls. It's crap they make up. Was there actually volcano nuking? No. L. Ron Hubbard just made that shit up, but it got popular. Same with Christianity.
Okay, that later part is definitely true. It depends on the era, because as the newer religions were definitely made by people who went out and sought to just make religions whole cloth. Whether Jesus was trying to set out to do the type of religion that he is constructed now, or whether Paul just wanted to create some sort of radical sect of Judaism that was open to others, I don't know. But in a sense, they are stemming from the imaginations of, humans, whether they did so intentionally or not.
Right. Yeah, and I've heard several different people posit some really good hypotheses for how it could have came about, even without obviously anything supernatural, and it makes total sense. So, yeah. As far as moral intuitions go, I've heard discussions recently. The last one was the debate between Daniel Hakikachu and Matt Dillahunty, and Daniel had brought up something about like you can have intuitions of quote unquote the divine. I kind of understand what he's saying, but I don't think that obviously it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how you would even falsify something like that.
They were about which claims of the divine? I actually have been watching those debates, sending love out to Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra, who were at Skepticon. But what was his exact miracle claims?
Oh, no. He brought up how there are studies that show that especially kids at a young age, they have this intuition of the divine or something along those lines. And I didn't know if that could tie in at all to a form of like moral intuition, if that would fall under the same category, or if that's just completely
Wait,
a
you mean like
non-starter.
active imaginations?
Right.
Well, and the problem is with the word divine is it can mean so many things, just like spiritual. And, do sometimes kids enact exactly what their parents are doing, especially when they're doing prayer and things like that? In fact, I think when we're talking about speaking in tongues and these sorts of bizarre actions that they would call divine, we could explain most of them by saying people wanted to fit in. A lot of people have these experiences when they're going through bad times. That doesn't always, I hope not to children, but very specifically, if you want to be part of the group, you're going to do what they are. And, sometimes you feel a feeling singing hymns, but that's probably not divine. That's probably dopamine.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. What's up, Tim?
Excellent. So I have one comment and then 3 questions, 2 for Tom and 1 for both Tom and Amy. Number 1, my comment is to thank Amy for working with autistic children. Are you still doing that? Is that correct? You just started?
I still am. It has been a
Excellent.
fantastic journey.
Yep. So it is really great. I have 2 children who are both autistic. So they've gone to ABA therapy before, and I've kind of, a long time ago, watched them go through that. And so you will find that this type of work will give you a lot of chance to become very patient with people. And maybe your talking with theists will help you with that, and vice versa. So that's
I
number 1.
just want to thank you for all the love and support that it sounds like you are giving your children. And you're right, has been a fantastic way to show my patients. However, they really do also have a lot of gifts, and so it's just about figuring out how we can communicate together so that we can get that out, and seeing about all that amazing success that they can do.
Yep, absolutely. First question for Tom is it possible for me to hypothesize that evolution is where objective morality emerges from?
Yeah.
Okay, then why don't you take that particular
Don't like it. I think it's
claim?
stupid.
Because I think it's stupid. Why is it stupid?
Because I think mine's better.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Second question for Tom is why are the atheists who believe in subjective morality so angry with your objective morality hypothesis?
They're not, for the most part, just the people. I mean, there's people on the internet who debate anything.
So I'm thinking of Godless Girl and all the people who she brings up. Essentially, why are they so upset about basically a hypothesis where you basically say, like, look, this is my hypothesis, here are the reasons why I believe it, here's a if we see this, then it'll prove it, but I can't prove it because I don't have a Nobel Peace Prize yet.
Well, I got a trick question for you. Name one thing Godless Girl is not angry about.
A good question. Yeah, but I mean, even some of the people who she brings on, they get so upset about it. I'm trying to think. Okay, last question, both for Tom and Amy. Is there a connection between trans rights and the rights of people on the autistic spectrum?
Huh? Say that again?
Is there a connection, or there's some relationship, or are they similar between trans rights and the rights of people on the autistic spectrum? In other words, will there become a time in the future, and it's already happening, where autistic people kind of say, like, hey, we have rights too, here are the things that we want, here are the things that we don't want, and will there be some pushback from people who are not in the autistic community.
Sure, in that context of, are there people with atypical natures to them who will then ask for special privileges or to be treated differently than the average person because of those? Yes, absolutely, and they should, and we should give everyone the right to be treated specially in accordance with their nature to make them feel the best that they can feel. We should do that for everybody.
And I agree. And there is a low correlation, and they overlap, but they're not. Obviously, they're not the same thing. And so there are many people on the spectrum who are transgender. I think actually a more disproportional rate. However, there are many people on the spectrum who feel just fine. I'm trying to think of the way to say it, who are not transgender, and so both groups and those that overlap need the support that they can get, and we should treat them like the amazing individuals they are.
Understood. Actually, I have a follow-up for Tom. Tom, if you had lived in the best of all possible worlds, where God came to you and asked you if you can either go to the world with high functioning autism or go without it, what would you choose?
I wouldn't care. I don't think autism versus not autism has any value. What matters is the outcome in the world to having it. So like, if you have high function autism and your special interest is something that's attainable, then you're going to be happy. If it's not attainable, then you're going to be unhappy. And so the question is would in that world with autism, is the special interest attainable? And if so, then it would be preferable, probably.
I can give an example. I have high functioning autism, and my special interest is computers, and that works out very well for me, both as an individual and for my career.
My special interest is hot blonde Instagram models, and it does not work out very well for me.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the conversation.
Yep.
Hello.
What is up?
Person
hi
in the
there.
chat, yes, I was diagnosed with high function autism.
Hello. Tijam, do you believe there can't be a round square?
Not in a standard logic universe, no.
Not understand?
Not in a standard logic universe, no.
Okay, then how can there be a measurable ultimate necessity?
A machinable ultimate necessity. What?
Yeah. No, there can't be a measurable ultimate necessity.
What's a measurable? I don't know what a measurable is.
Anything, any measurable quality, maybe mass, momentum,
material
size.
Yeah, there's no contradiction between a material necessary thing.
No, how can a material necessary thing can be necessary in all possible world?
Because
the measurement could have been any other way in all possible
worlds. So a necessary being is just a being that exists in all possible worlds. If all possible worlds entail a material Bob being, then Bob would be a necessary being.
No. My argument is, if you say the ultimate necessity is a measurable thing, that measurement could have been any other way in all possible world. So last week you told me you can have a 1-inch potato in all possible world as a necessary thing. So my question is, if it is possible to have a world without any physical entities, how can you say it is possible to have a 1-inch potato in all possible world?
That wouldn't be in all possible worlds if there was one possible world that didn't have it.
No, you are saying it is possible to have 1-inch potato in all possible world.
Yeah.
That is a logical contradiction.
No, it's not.
No, because you can have a 2-inch potato in a possible world.
No,
that's possible.
It's possible that in all possible worlds, a 2-inch potato is impossible.
No. The modus ponens goes like this. If a 2-inch potato, if it is possible to have a 2-inch potato in any possible world, it is impossible to have a 1-inch potato in all possible world. Therefore, it is impossible to have a 1-inch potato in all possible
You're not
world.
understanding.
That's what I'm
You're not
saying. Because
understanding. So there's this thing called necessitarianism. Necessitarianism is the view that the way things are is the only way they ever could be. So if there's a world where there's a 1-inch potato and it's a necessitarian world, that's the only way the world could be. So the only possible world is a world with a necessary potato that's 1 inch.
that is necessary because it is dependent on a law prior to it which forces it to be that way.
What? No.
Because for example, let me give you an example. Because anything that is composed of parts depends on those parts to exist.
No, that's
for
irrelevant.
example, you take
that's irrelevant. So you can have a composite necessary being.
No, you take a sandcastle as an example. Okay,
sandcastle. Oh my God!
Depends on the
you're so ignorant to philosophy. Just Google necessary beings in Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. The only thing that makes something a necessary being is that it exists in all possible worlds. There can be multiple necessary beings. There can be composite necessary beings. There can be potato necessary beings.
Yeah,
you don't understand necessary.
I know it is. No, you're talking about dependent necessary things. I'm talking about the ultimate necessary things. Which is not
thing. In philosophy, all necessary beings, there's only one class. Necessary being refers to only one thing. Things that exist in all possible worlds. That's it. Full stop. There's no classification. You're making up your new classifications that don't exist in philosophy. That doesn't exist.
Okay, I will now bring a new argument. You actually told me that you will approve a prediction of future event. If a scripture says a future event, that will be a proof for God's existence, right? Okay. Do you believe that Hindu scriptures are like at least 4,000 years old?
Yeah. 6,000.
Yeah, in Hindu scriptures it says
6,000 years, I think.
Yeah, in Hindu scriptures it says like the Kalki avatar will come, and the last prophet. Kalki avatar means last prophet. His name will be in Arabic. It is translated as the name is Narashamsa, which means the praiseworthy. Which literally translates to Muhammad, and his father's name will be Vishnu Bhagat. Vishnu Bhagat means slave of Vishnu, which literally translates to Abdullah, which is the name
literally
of the
does not translate into that. No, the Hindu names don't translate into Muhammad and Abdullah. They do not. They literally.
No, I live in India. I know Vishnu Bhagat means. I have several friends
with the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas.
No, Vishnu is God.
Stop. So there is actually a prediction in the Vedas. It's a very good prediction. It predicts the age of the earth is 4.3 billion years old in the Vedas. It's 95% accurate. It's a phenomenal prediction. That's the best evidence for any god have ever been presented is from the Vedas, which is
okay. I'm not giving you just one prediction. I'm giving you 8 to 9 prediction, clear prediction. Just let me go through it entirely. Okay. It says like
the first one you presented fails. The first one doesn't work. So what's the next one?
No. Okay, I will bring. It says that a spiritual leader will come from an outside land of desert region, and he will be speaking a foreign language. And they will not be from the Arya Dharma. Arya Dharma means they will not be from India, and their followers will be circumcised. This is the main point, and they will have a call to prayer, which is our Adhan. Call to prayer. This is written in Bhavishya Purana. I will give you the chapter number, verse number, whichever you need. Okay, and it says they will have a call to prayer, and they will only eat lawful things, and they will not eat pork. It specifically mentions they will not eat pork, and then it says they will be meat-eating nation because Hindus they don't eat meat.
The first thing, circumcision. The earliest documented cases of circumcision are from Egypt in 2,300 BC.
Okay. Leave it. I will give you the next one. No. It says here they will be from the desert region, and his followers will be circumcised.
No, it doesn't say that. It does not say circumcision anywhere in the Vedas. It does not mention the word. No.
No. It mentions you have. I'm saying Bhagavad. Go to Bhavishya Purana, Parv 3, Kanda 3, Adhyay 3, Shokla 10 to 27. It mentions that their followers will be circumcised. No,
it doesn't.
Okay.
No, it doesn't.
No.
What is the word? What is the Vedas word for circumcision? What is the word?
Because I didn't take the original because you only understand English. You don't understand the Sanskrit.
Just tell me the word. So tell me the Sanskrit word.
No. People are circumcising in the world since time memorial. So you don't. You think the
that's
Sanskrit
not the
doesn't have a word?
case. No, they haven't.
No, you're diverting the topic.
What is the word?
Okay,
What
you
is
forgot
the
the
Sanskrit word
Okay.
for circumcised? I want to know this.
Okay.
I want to
No,
Google this. I want
will-
Google to
I will
tell
give-
me.
I will show you an entire scripture. Just let me complete the argument. You are not trying to divert the argument
That's literally
just based
you
on the
made the
circumcision.
argument. This is your prophecy.
Okay, let me tell you another thing. In Atharva Ved, book number 20, hymn number 21, it says his name will be Karo. Karo means, it literally translates to praying one. Praying one means Ahmad, which is another name of Prophet Muhammad. And if you argue regarding the name, forget. Let me tell you the next thing. He will defeat 10,000 enemies without a fight, which actually talks about the Battle of Kandak, where the Muslims won without a fight taking place. Okay, and then hello.
No, none of those work. Those are all
And
garbage.
Operator.
yeah. No. And then in Atharva Ved, another hymn 21, it says he will defeat 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs, and his name will be Abandhu, which means Ahmad. And that means when Prophet Muhammad conquered back
Abandhu does
Makkah,
not mean
the
Ahmed.
population was
There's literally no connection
no,
between those two.
the population was 60,090, and then there were 20 chiefs in Quraysh. So all these things are, even Hindu scholars. I can give you the like from Sri Ravi Shankar and few other scholars who agree to this. Actually, this actually refers to Prophet Muhammad. So, and also I can give you proofs from Bible where it mentions that a prophet will come from the
Prophecies are
region
garbage.
of.
I gave you a better prophecy than literally all of those.
No, you know, this is not one prophecy. This actually specifically mentions event numbers.
All of those combined
No, 20
are
chiefs.
still garbage compared to the one that I gave you from the Vedas. The one prediction from the Vedas of the age of the earth is 1 billion times better than all of those combined. All the ones you mentioned are garbage.
Yeah, Veda. We believe the Vedas, Bible, everything came from the same God, because the God has sent several prophets to all the communities in the world. So that's why all the scripture, all the scripture they teach monotheism, and then all are correlated. And it
The
specifically
Vedas does not
mentions this
teach
prophet would
monotheism.
lead
Literally, no.
No. Ikkam Ivrityam. Do you know the word Ikkam Ivrityam, which means God is only one? Na Janitapa Pradipa. Na Janitapa
It's the
Pradipa means that God doesn't have any.
Brahma, who was made from the Brahmin, is one, but there are lots of other gods.
No. You know Na Janitapa Pradipa. You know the meaning of that Sanskrit?
No, what does it mean?
Na Janitapa Pradipa means God is one. He's absolute. He's eternal. Na Janitapa Pradipa. Okay.
That God is Brahman. It's not all of the other gods.
No. No, there are several man-written verses in the scriptures. It is very old, so we don't consider it as the 100% pure words from God, but it still consists words of God. That's why when you read it, you can find many predictions, several things. And it says that this prophet will ride a camel. This prophet will ride a camel. No Indian Brahmins would ride a camel. Indian Brahmins are like forbidden to ride a camel. So how can this prophet be from India?
But do you understand some of the claims you're making? But Anesh, like saying that they will be circumcised if they made that circumcision right now is the prevailing thing we do in the United States. And so if the prophet said, find a guy who was circumcised, you could find millions, billions.
Just tell me who in the history of the entire history who won a war of 10,000 enemies without a fight, except Prophet Muhammad.
So Caesar, Augustine, Attila the Hun.
Okay, give me the historical reference of 10,000 enemies he won without a fight.
Yeah, it's called
exactly
surrender.
10,000 enemies.
Tons and tons of cities have surrendered with tens of thousands of people to militaries without a fight. This happens all the time in history.
Yeah, Muhammad is known for taking cities by force. If a few came by surrendering or assimilation, that's cool. But that's
It says his name will be Abandhu. Abandhu means Ahmad in literally in Arabic. Alexander's name is not Abandhu, doesn't match the name. And also it says he will defeat 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs. That's specific number. You cannot get around that. It specifically says 60,090 enemies and 20 chiefs.
Ubuntu, right?
Which one?
Ubuntu. Ubuntu. The one that you says that means Muhammad? Ahmed? Ubuntu.
Ahmed, the second name of Prophet Muhammad.
What is the word? What is
Ubuntu.
the Sanskrit word? Ubuntu?
Abandu.
Ubuntu, correct?
Abandu. Abandu.
Say it again slower.
AB. AN. DU. DD.
DD, like there's two D's at the end?
No, D for Denmark.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing any translations that include anything related to Muhammad here. Nothing. No translation of Ubuntu.
No, Ubuntu. What is the translation of Ubuntu? Meaning of Ubuntu?
Ubuntu meaning.
He's translating it roughly to mean something that can be interpreted as Muhammad. He's not directly translating it to Muhammad.
No. The translation is praying one. It could be several other name, but why specifically praying one? Literally Ahmad.
No.
And his mother's
name.
No, it doesn't. I will translate. No. Okay. His mother's name will be in Sanskrit Somanib. Somanib means peaceful and tranquil, which is the literal name of Prophet Muhammad, Amina in Arabic. Amina means peaceful and tranquil.
The fact
you cannot say
words can be translated to mean the same thing doesn't mean that they're the same name. No.
Peaceful and tranquil. It could be 1,000 of other names. There are millions of other names in Hindu. Priya, Jayanti, Shanti, Sivajini. It could be any other name. Why specifically Somanib, which means peaceful and tranquil?
Because it's a very common name. There's nothing special about anything you've said.
Oh, why did
How do you know it's not referring to Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha?
No, it says he would ride a camel.
Okay, how do you know Buddha didn't ride a camel?
You're roboting. Your mic is broken.
Buddha is angry that his scripture was misinterpreted to be Muhammad.
He's fighting back.
Yeah. Well, now Buddha and Muhammad are both fighting over his microphone to control which one of them is interpreted.
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah, they need to learn how to get along.
Hello.
Now we can.
I got disconnected.
Some people on T-Jump stream requested that you recite the alphabet really quickly.
You mean narration? Okay, I will give you the word narration because this is confirmed by Hindu scholars who are reading the scripture for thousands of years. Okay, Sri Ravi Shankar, I can quote several other scholars as well. So their own scholars are agreeing to it because they don't have any other option to refuse it. And people like Zakir Naik, all these people, they have studied these specific verses, and then they come to the conclusion this specifically mentions the arrival of Prophet Muhammad. And even in Bible, it says that a last prophet would come from Khorasan region, from Mount Sinai, specifically the mountain in Medina. So the specific location is mentioned, and from which lineage he will come, because a prophet has been promised to the descendants of Ishmael. So he is the second son of Abraham. So God promised the second son of Abraham that you will have a prophet from your lineage in Bible. So everyone, that's why people in Medina, they were waiting for the last prophet. When Prophet Muhammad, he actually got the revelation in a cave. And also it is mentioned in the Hindu scriptures, he will receive the revelation in the cave. So I don't think this can be coincidence. Very low chance. You actually told me if you bring any future predictions from any scriptures, you will take it as a proof.
Yeah, those aren't future testable predictions. Those are ambiguity fallacies. I gave you one.
No, and the specific numbers: 60,000, 20 chiefs, 60,000, 90 enemies, and 20 chiefs. Specific numbers, names are matching. Historical.
None of that is matching. All that's garbage. All that's an ambiguity fallacy. You can actually check the historians on that.
Ambiguity.
I gave you an
receiving
example.
The revelation.
I gave you an example from the Vedas of a good prediction. The age of the earth. That's a really good prediction. That one's evidence.
Yeah,
that's evidence.
That's good. Nobody's saying it's bad. That's so good. It's evidence as well. So do you believe in the Vedas? No, you said it's a good evidence, right?
Yeah, that one's good evidence. It's a very small amount of evidence
Then believe
because
me.
it got everything else wrong.
Yeah, then why don't you believe in
Because
it?
it got everything else wrong.
How can you just told me it is a good evidence?
Yes, it got one thing right, which is
Yeah.
evidence, and it got a million things wrong, which is counter evidence.
And also, no, there are several things you haven't read it. Just now,
I
I've given you some of the
have read
proofs.
it.
So
Most of the things you said are garbage, but most of the things
not
it says
garbage.
as well.
I'm quoting you from where the I'm giving you the where the scripture
I know,
number, verse
I know,
number,
no,
chapter
no.
number. And
Your interpretation is called an ambiguity fallacy. It's the same kind of garbage interpretations Christians do. You're trying to make the text
no,
fit
they
historical
don't.
facts. They don't work.
They don't speak
They
the
do
Arabic
not work.
language in India 4,000
Don't
years back.
care. I
So
don't
obviously,
care. It doesn't make a difference. That's called an ambiguity fallacy. This is what people do with text.
It's not ambiguity
Stop. We know this doesn't work. You can take any texts and read it in ways that can be interpreted to fit history. The Moby Dick literally has examples of dates and times where people were killed and assassinated, and it has dozens of them. It is not evidence that Moby Dick was written by a guy who can predict the future. That's just how words work. If you put enough words on paper, a small percentage of them will be able to correspond to factual events in history, both before and after the events of the book. It's not evidence of anything. What you need, novel testable predictions, not a whole bunch of words, some of which seem to fit some things. No.
Novel testable prediction. How can you prove only through novel testable prediction you can come to a true conclusion? How can you prove that? That's a
Because you
philosophical
need to be
claim.
able to
That's not a scientific
differentiate
claim.
imagination from reality, and the only thing that can do that is to accurately be able to predict the future.
No. You can prove that with logical contradiction and impossibility of the contrary argument.
No, you cannot. You can have a thing that's that's not logically contradictory, and it's still just something you made up in your head, like Santa Claus, Sky Daddies, magical leprechauns.
No. For that, the first premises itself is not strong. If you prove the first premises is strong, then the conclusion follows to be no. The first premises.
You can have premises and logical arguments for Santa Claus, like Santa Claus. If Santa Claus exists, cats will be real. Cats are real, therefore Santa Claus exists. That's a deductive logical argument.
You don't understand my first premises. The Santa Claus is because my first premises is anything that is measurable is a dependent thing, because that measurement could have been any other way in all possible worlds. Santa Claus
anywhere in philosophy does it say things that are measurable are contingent. It's not a thing. You've made that up. It doesn't exist.
You can get Josh Rasmussen, and then there are several people who actually argue
I've
this.
debated them. They're wrong. That is not a thing.
Arbitrary. They have 2 PhDs, and then you are saying they are wrong. They are scholars in philosophy.
They are wrong. Like everybody in philosophy disagrees with them. Not a thing.
No, then you because you are saying if something is necessary, then that can only be necessary if the impossibility of the contrary is proven. In your case, you are saying you are saying there can be a 1-inch potato in all possible worlds. But why there is no impossibility of the contrary? There are so many other possible measurements that could have been in all other possible worlds. But
necessitarianism. Just Google necessitarianism, and maybe you'll understand. Probably not, but yes, there could be impossible for there to be anything but a 1-inch potato in all possible worlds. So it's not possible for anything else to exist. Only 1-inch potatoes in all possible worlds. That is a possibility. Yes.
But why it is 1-inch potato? Because we are talking
because
about
it's necessary.
randomness.
That's what necessitarianism means. Do we have anybody else who has actual genuine questions? It's not stupid.
Yeah, what made it necessary on the first place? It must be dependent on something.
Reality.
No, because for something to exist, it must be.
Next. Anybody else?
Yeah. So what's the like point of this call?
Magic potatoes.
You mean the show?
This call-in show. Like, what's the topic?
To help theists that are struggling with, I guess, this type of what I would call superstition. Maybe not all skeptics would, but walk away from religion.
Well, that's probably quite a bad idea for a religious person.
I mean, sure, but a lot of them, at least in my opinion, are stuck in a cult.
A cult which gives them meaning, which non-religious people don't have.
I don't know if that's a good reason to be in a cult.
I mean, it depends to what extent they're being in a cult. If their religion is motivating them to, like commit terrorist atrocities, then yeah, I can see where you're coming from. That yeah, maybe they shouldn't be part of that religion. But on the other hand, religion.
Sorry.
Go on. You can ask me.
Well, I was going to ask, would you say that's more an effect of something on the human psychology, and it is the fundamental nature of the religion itself?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So it doesn't have to be religion. You could worship the first rock you find on the ground on a Sunday and feel that finds you meaning, and you can interpret that rock to mean whatever you want. Right. It doesn't mean that the belief in the rock is any more or less valid because it's zero. There's zero validity.
Yeah. Not many people think that rocks are God, though.
Right. Well, the only thing that separates, right, belief in God from, say, mental illness is the number of followers. If one person was going around talking about how great the rock they found was, we would assume that they were suffering some sort of bout of a mental condition, or they were having some kind of other problem. We wouldn't assume that their beliefs were, reasonable.
I mean, the problem with being reasonable all the time is that you don't have the meaning that religions give you.
Not true. You can
did you not just hear me say that you could?
You can get meaning from things that are non-religion. You can get, like, many scientists can get meaning in
having kids
without religion. You don't need religion for that.
But that's why religion helps. Like, religion helps people by giving people meaning, although you can get meaning from other avenues.
If you can get it from other avenues, why do we need religion?
Because that's just how, like, some people are brought up. Like, some people are just kind of stuck in their ways, and like cultures, so many cultures are just like have religions as like an integral part of them. And we can't just like get rid of religion. We have to, like accept and accommodate it.
No, I don't.
So I don't have any problem with religion as a concept, but the issue that I have is when people take their religious values and then attempt to impose those values on the broader society. For example, in America, we have a lot of laws and bans or restrictions that are formulated based on religious concepts. Abortion and anti-LGBT legislation are two of the easiest examples of things that are primarily, if not overwhelmingly, motivated by religion.
Oh, man, I agree with that. And then I will also just put out that I think that we should be trying to get away from religion. I think we should treat religious people with dignity and respect, and I would die for them to have their beliefs. However, I don't think that there's any good reason to be a theist.
Well, sure there is. For different people, different people work differently. For some people, religion might be the simplest way to make them feel like fulfilled and give them a sense of purpose in their life. So religion is the best thing for them.
But if it's not true, then they basically have a foundation. Something makes us happy, even though it does not exist in reality.
That's true for sure.
Like I like video game characters, but they don't exist in reality. I don't particularly derive my meaning from them. Right? Wouldn't it be silly for me to do so?
Not if it helps you. Just because it's not real doesn't mean it can't give you meaning.
Hashtag support otakus.
I guess so.
I mean, I understand.
What if my meaning comes from debating and debunking theists?
I mean,
what if my meaning comes
we'd
from
have fun.
placing
Have fun. Then.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Have fun debunking theists.
That's right. That's what the show is for. That is the purpose of the show, for me to have fun debunking theists.
I'm not sure it's going to achieve much, though.
I'm getting paid.
Okay, true.
Oh, well, that's a plus. All right.
I'll admit, I'm having fun, too. Sponsored by fun.
Yeah, but notice, though, that this, at the end of the day, right, is harmless, right? It's just people talking in a Discord call. There's no societal consequences. There are no legislative consequences. We're all just here having a conversation, having a good time. The problem I have with religion, like I stated earlier, is there are actual tangible consequences to imposing religious values on society.
Yeah, and they can be good and they can be bad.
They can
Like,
be good.
it depends.
Yeah,
they
so
can
I'm
be
noticing
okay.
a slight track record here, right, where they tend to be bad more often than they're good by a pretty substantial margin. So I think that maybe we should.
Probably disagree.
Hmm?
So I did a debate.
Which would you say,
I did a debate with R and Raw on this. I think that the good benefits, the societally positive benefits, while they are small on the individual level, in aggregate create greater benefits than the negative results which happen to the minority. That's
I think that I
from
may
an
be
evolution.
biased here because I'm a member of one of the targeted minorities.
Yes, I am as well. So is Amy. I think so is pretty much any atheist. But yeah, I think that the reason from an evolutionary standpoint religion is so prevalent is because the minor benefits help the majority more than the minority. And so it's sacrifice the few to save the many kind of a thing. And we're in the few.
I just think it's a community, and so when you have communities, it's much harder because they just draw you in. There's also a lot of pressure if it's a majority to just be that. And so hopefully as we get more atheists, agnostic, non-believers, it will also, people won't have pressure to call themselves Christian, Muslim, when they're not, maybe not an atheist, but they're just I don't give up theist.
It's not like you can disprove religion, though.
It's not about disproving it.
You definitely can. You definitely can. Like a Trinity that is himself and not himself at the same time. An all-powerful being who can't create a rock so heavy he can't lift it. You can definitely disprove religion. Jesus existed but didn't rise from the dead, put into a mass grave. There was no tomb. You can disprove a lot of religions.
You can't disprove that God's real. Right? Like,
so the absence of proof that God isn't real doesn't mean that God is real.
And atheists.
Going further and further back, though.
You can't prove there aren't magic leprechauns up your butt.
Hey, I feel like I've heard this argument before.
There are magical god-eating leprechauns that kill any god that has ever existed, and they've existed for all time. And so if there was ever a god, they would have been eaten by the god-eating leprechauns.
I also think there is good reason for a god not being there. Like, we don't see any floating mines. Every mine that we know of and have evidence for has to have a physical substrate. And so there could be a god out there.
Gotcha. I thought you said floating mimes. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
I heard floating mimes as well.
Oh yes, we do. There is the prime mover is actually a mime. I don't know if you all do.
That's why he's so silent and we never hear his voice.
Exactly.
Oh, so that's why the French act like that.
So, but if we had good evidence, and I wish theists would come by, but most of their arguments, if they don't accept science, they're arguments from hundreds or thousands of years ago. Not that that is a bad thing, but come with something, I guess, better than Coulomb or Pascal's wager.
Well,
I guess bring those too, but
I think that fundamentally being against science as a theist is wrong, right? Because if God created the universe, then science is just the study of the universe that God created. So they are not, through a theist standpoint, contradictory to each other.
Tell that to Galileo and Giordano Bruno, who got burned at the stake.
I can't, they're dead.
But if there's an afterlife,
that was a joke.
If there's an afterlife, you could tell him. You could die and then go tell him.
Oh, true. All right, I'll tell him when I go to hell.
Anybody else? Questions, arguments for God, philosophy, morality, politics, potatoes.
Taco Tuesday.
Diarrhea Wednesday.
No,
That's
no, that's
not right.
Tuesday after Taco Tuesday.
Both of those are right.
Yeah.
But no evidence for God? Anybody? Had one pre-supper that once again just tried to ask us, but
Ooh, there's somebody named Precept King in the chat.
I think that was him.
I'm not sure.
No
We usually get
one.
more people like
I
this.
will say, in like a half an hour, I have to go to a birthday party.
Oh, happy
It's highly
birthday.
exciting. Oh no,
Wait,
it's
you
not
didn't say it was
mine.
your birthday.
Yeah, no, it's good. It was my nephew's birthday, but they celebrate on that day, so now's the day for family.
Well, happy birthday to your nephew.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need some more coffee if I thought it was your birthday after you just said that. I'll be right back.
Listen, if we eat cake every day, it can be our birthday every day.
Yeah, but I prefer not gaining 500 pounds for eating all that cake.
Yeah, that is the thing.
It was my birthday.
I
a
just
week
lost
ago.
like 70, 80 pounds. I don't really want to gain that
birthday.
back.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
I have survived another round the sun traversal of the planet. Congratulations, me.
Does this mean we're more alive or closer to being dead?
Yes.
How could you possibly be more alive?
I don't know. Wait, when was your birthday, by the way? I was also born in September.
18.
I was born on the 10th.
I'm older than you. Ha.
Okay, boomer.
Listen, the next battle is going to be Gen X versus Gen Z.
Happy birthday,
Millennials
Amy.
just
Finally
watching.
21.
As a member of Gen Z, we're definitely going to lose.
Yay. I'm so sorry. It's going to be an interesting battle. You can just sit back.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, that's what I think people forget is when they look at like the conservatives from the lens of a modern day liberal or progressive, is they forget that those people were the same ones that were smoking pot and protesting the Vietnam War.
No, they weren't. What are you talking about?
What? Weren't they?
No.
The boomers today that are whining about it?
Nope.
Weren't they also protesting the
Nope.
Vietnam War? Oh.
No. Very few.
I mean, some of them might have been, but generally, no.
Generally, those boomers are the liberals because, like, half of the country, the old people are also liberals.
Yeah, but like conservatives and liberals as well. Like
What?
both parties in the US and every like Western country are really just neoliberal.
I got to push back on that slightly because I would argue that there is a heavy authoritarian tendency in the conservative movement in the U.S.
I mean, like, if we're comparing the current political status to the political status at 1200 AD, yeah. So, like, both political parties have moved far to the left of back when we were okay with slavery and genocide. Yeah. So,
I mean, we're kind of still with our dollars today arguing we're still in favor of those things with our supports of the Saudis and Israel.
that doesn't mean,
So
that doesn't mean we're pro slavery or
Abyssinian,
genocide.
that
That
was
just means we're
name.
pro money. We want my oils.
Fair enough.
Oils.
As a consequence of being pro money, we support slavery and genocide.
And if we find oil, we will save the fuck out of you.
See, that's the joke I've always made. Is if like Texas a while back said they wanted to secede, so the joke that I was making was we should let them secede and then invade them for oil.
That works too.
Best of both worlds, am I right? Quote unquote. Now, jokes aside, what do Amy, you and T-Jump think about the conservative narrative that there is going to be a civil war, quote unquote?
So dumb.
I do not think that is going to happen. Well, I think we have become, I hate to say we're a lovely society, but I always ask, where is that going to happen? Just point me.
Yeah, well, and it's weird to me that these people are fetishizing killing their fellow Americans. It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Fortunately, my boss is one of those people. He just sounds so excited at the thought of being able to kill progressives. But I think it's lead poisoning at the end of the day. Like that's my best guess.
I don't think so.
Because he has a double whammy of growing up when there was lead in the pipes, and he's an electrical engineer, so he had leaded solder too that he'd been inhaling / chomping on his whole life. And I wish another theist would come up. We need some more entertainment.
Exactly. Come on.
I can pretend to be a theist.
Well, it just seems like the two options are either why won't you prove that God doesn't exist? Or I guess the guy from 2,000 years ago who they claim raised from the dead. Ooh, someone's raising their hand.
Right.
Everybody.
Rat spear?
Oh, he's server muted.
Unlucky.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, indeed. How are you?
How are you guys doing?
You good?
I have a question.
You may have an answer.
Was Moses a human?
He was
Nope.
probably
Nope.
just a myth based on maybe humans that existed, but there probably wasn't a literal Moses.
Do Christians and the Jewish believe Moses was a human?
Yes.
Do the
Presumably.
Jews, the Christians, Mormons, Muslims?
Okay, that's all I'm worried about. Was Moses able to change God's mind in Exodus chapter 32, verses 9 through 14?
I have no idea. What does it say?
I'll answer yes, just for you, just to get this argument along.
Wait, read the verse to us, please.
I hate you. Okay, hold on.
Well, you can't just cite a verse and expect us to know it by heart.
Just start at Genesis 1:1 and you'll work your way there.
Yeah, go through the whole Bible so we have all the context.
I'm on my iPhone, so now I have to switch to ChatGPT and read it off. Hold on. Now I have to take push to talk off because if I switch the apps, then my push to talk disengages.
Sounds like
Does
they have
anybody
all
have a
kinds of fun.
computer?
Yeah,
Anybody
what?
have a
What?
desktop?
Yeah.
Sorry, T-Jump. Exodus chapter 32, verses 9 through 14. Sorry for the cats in the background. I have 5 cats in front of me waiting to eat.
Listen, you can.
Hey,
you
go
should
feed
never
him.
apologize for cats.
Now I've got
Yeah,
the
go.
iPhone in one hand, and then I have the spoon with the cat food in the other. I'm doing both things.
Podcasting sponsored by cats.
Yeah.
cats
So
are the
Moses was arguing with God and said, "Don't burn the people." Sure.
All right. Are we humans?
Presumably.
We can change God's mind.
Sure.
Boom. We can live a hedonistic lifestyle, get to the gates of heaven, and debate God and teach up your debate, bro. You'd probably be better than Moses. You definitely would go into heaven no matter what.
I'm gonna get him to create the best of all possibles for everyone.
You'll just confuse him with your moral code, and he'll be like, "Oh, you know what? You're like God mode level moral, like more moral, whatever," and he'll just let you into heaven.
And I'll just ask for mozzarella sticks.
No, T-Jump should ask for a world where every potential world only has one inch potato in it.
Yeah, that'll work. Just the smoke and mirrors will just confuse God. I mean, come on, Moses changed God's mind. Like how, like 1400 BC. I mean, look how much.
Well,
like, how
in the
much more are we
Bible,
educated?
he's not the only one. Many people changed God's mind in the Bible.
Yeah, see, so we're all good, dude. Don't worry about
Like there are people,
the God of Abraham.
there are people
over
who
me,
are so
Allah. You're good.
bad they convinced God to flood the entire planet He created.
Yeah, that the problem is that they just weren't good debaters back at that time. So you just need to be a good debater and you're good.
No, they
have
succeeded. They
access to the
succeeded in changing God's mind from not flooding the planet to flooding the planet. So they're great debaters. Phenomenal.
They weren't self-aware debaters.
I have a question for you, Mr. Theist. Can God sin?
Can God send? Let me see. Well, I mean, now that I've brought God down to earth, I would say yes.
Okay.
And that's my show.
Yeah, no, because if you saw, I was just going to say, it was also, wiping out 99.9% of life on Earth. Earth wasn't an active wrath, but you were surprisingly consistent, so I'll take it.
Wait.
Yeah, no, this is a pivotal moment for religion. We have just brought God from the heavens down to earth. Now you're gonna have to come up with another God.
Well, there's a better example, like there's the guy who was wrestling God and God had to grab him by the balls to win because he was losing.
What? Is that a real
That
story?
is a real story.
Sounds like when I was in jiu-jitsu class and someone started pinching because they were losing.
Yep.
Yeah, so look, come on, guys. You gotta like theists, and I consider myself a theist, given some a basic framework of the God we're gonna talk about. I'm like a chameleon. I can change from theist to deist to agnostic. This is what gives Dark Dawkins such a hard time when debating me. Okay, I'm going to go to feed my cats now. Thank you, Abysmal IX, T Jump, Amy. Great talking with you guys. Everybody have a great Sunday.
You too.
Yeah, you too.
All right, bye.
Yo, really quickly, I just want to say, nobody here is actually an atheist, right? Because that's like an anti-theist. Like, it's agnostic.
No, atheist and anti-theist are two different things.
And I'm both.
Oh, okay,
I'm an atheist
okay.
and I'm an anti-theist.
Okay, could you explain the difference to me? Because I'm kind of new to the whole shebang.
So, if we're talking about belief and knowledge, you can be agnostic or you can be Gnostic, as in I believe something with certainty or I don't, and we're talking about knowledge when it comes to atheism and theism. I have it backwards. We have it. But so when I mean I'm an agnostic atheist, I am saying that I do not believe in God, but I don't have absolute certainty, and so I'm agnostic. And when I mean an anti-theist, I am saying that I think that religion is bad for society, at least overall.
Yes.
So, like, it's not necessarily
An-
anti-God; it's anti-organized religion.
No. So
or-
anti-theism can be anti-God or anti-religion. Atheism is just not believing in a God or believing God doesn't exist. And agnosticism is taking the more general position that you don't have any reason to believe one way or the other.
Okay, I think that's fair. But then, so with anti-theism, what would be the purpose for being anti-God?
Well, if you think God drowned millions of babies, you probably would be anti-God.
Yeah, it depends on the God. Like, if the God of the Bible exists, I think that we should be against them. And I think we should be against the concept just because of that God of the Bible being so evil. Oh, maybe there's a nice God. We don't know.
What determines the evil in that circumstance? Because
Drowning
isn't
millions
God
of
the
babies.
arbiter of morality?
No. So, like, you can use an independent basis of morality. Like, if you understand philosophy, if morality was grounded in God, that would be subjective morality, not objective morality. So you can say there's an objective morality where drowning babies is wrong. God drowned babies. God is immoral.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. So by that logic, would you consider God a hypocrite then? Because you would say that
Yes,
humans planning
you
babies is
didn't
negative.
even need clarification. Is God a hypocrite?
Yeah,
Yes.
I just figured.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify. Yeah.
Thou shalt
Okay.
not.
Thou shalt not kill, but then millions murder.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't speak English. Murders millions of people.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm planning on reading the Bible soon, but I just like hearing everyone's opinions and
sorry.
stuff, so it's informative.
Why?
What?
I mean, it's a good storybook.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
like at the very least, it's a good book.
No, it's not. It's terribly written. The stories are boring. They don't follow any kind of a rational flow. Like there's a story about the angels. There were some guys trying to rape an angel and they hid inside of a hotel, and then the guy instead gave him his like wife or daughter or whatever, and they raped her, and then they cut her body into pieces and sent it to every corner of the planet. Like there's no logical consistency to that story. Like if you want to read a good story, read some Norse mythology.
Or Greek.
I don't know. I feel
mythology
like
is really good.
most mythology is pretty good, but like the new media of it is kind of mid.
The new what?
Media like Rick Riordan and shit is kind of garbage.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he wrote the
Percy Jackson and shit. Yeah.
Harry Potter.
I mean,
Harry
that's
Potter
just a
is
storybook.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? This is an amazing story. I hate you.
So is Lord of the Rings.
No,
I mean,
Lord of the Rings.
I laughed.
Lord of the Rings was awful. Like he had spent like a half a page on genealogies. He introduced a new
Oh.
character and he said, "This guy is the father of this guy, who's the father of this guy, who's the father of this guy," who are no characters you're ever going to hear about ever in the rest of the book.
I don't know. I feel like you're one of the people who hates the Scarlet Letter.
The reason why I say Harry Potter is bad is because the whole concept of Harry being the last Horcrux is stupid.
That was actually good. I liked that. Like, why is that
See,
stupid?
I thought it was very cliche and narratively unsatisfying.
I did not see that as cliche. I did not see that coming at all. Like the fact that the build up into how to create Horcruxes, and then that I think there should have been more to it. I think it should have been more steps to how to build a Horcrux, and it just happened to be coincidentally that he did all of the 5 steps or whatever before hitting Harry, and then it would have been clear. I also think J.K. Rowling should have done more into the magic, because the magic was pretty underwhelming through most of the books, but it's really hard to make a good system of magic. But it was really good with Harry Potter being the Horcrux. That was a good non-religious shift from the expected magic-y outcome.
I don't know. I feel like if you're
Yes.
reading Harry Potter, you should read Philip K. Dick. I mean, it's just infinitely better.
Well, the light novel I'm reading right now, the concept is that the church, the nobles, and the magic users are opposed to each other, and magic is based on like science. People form like cognitive worldviews. So when sorcerers go to war with each other, instead of just throwing magic at each other, they're also do like scientific experiments. Because if your cognitive world gets shaken too hard, your head explodes.
Which novel are you reading? What light novel is
It's
that?
called. Give me 1 second. I'll tell you the name. Let me just open up my phone. Thrones of Magical Arcana.
All right, I'll have to check that out. Thanks for
It's very good.
thanks for letting me up here and answering my questions rather concisely.
Also, Game of Thrones for like the first few seasons.
The books?
I'm not watching Game of Thrones. Okay.
Okay.
The books were really good. I really enjoyed the Game of Thrones books.
Too much incest and rape, bro.
Why
well,
I
are
don't know.
those, why are those
way
bad?
worse.
Why are those bad? I don't think those are bad.
It's only bad when they happen to you.
Hey, man. All I'm saying is, if you enjoy those parts of the show, it feels like kind of a red flag.
I don't think so.
All right, peace.
How do you think Adam and Eve had a baby? In fact, how do you think
think-
Noah had a baby?
he's
Yeah, how do you
about
think
to
all of
read the
Adam and
Bible.
kids had babies?
He's about to read the Bible and
Yeah,
complain about incest.
Bro, you
and
guys are
rape.
giving me
Come on.
spoilers right now. I don't even know yet.
I'm sorry.
Alright.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, peace.
You
Spoiler
should
alert.
read him the verse where they're hung like donkeys and have ejaculate like horses.
Oh my.
Holy based. Okay. Peace.
What was the one where
That is
Lot's
unironically
daughters
the
got
verse.
him drunk?
Yep.
Listen, this is called biblical morality.
Yeah, the ejaculate like horses verse is actually what got the Bible banned from schools in Utah based on their decency standard or whatever.
That's it. Like, really, there's so many worse things, and that's the one.
Yep. Well, because they claim that the other books had graphic depictions of sex or sexual nature, things of sexual nature. And so I said this is, pretty blatantly sexual.
All right. What is up, Disciple Day? Are you server muted? No.
Oh, he was locally muted.
Chris,
Hi.
what is up?
Hey, this is a groundbreaking day. I signed up for Discord apparently a while ago and just didn't remember, but it's my first time ever actually using it. So it's I feel young again.
I was gonna say, do you feel trendy?
This is I feel trendy. This is a different type of playground.
That is for sure.
Do you feel hip?
I do. I feel hip. So.
We sell coffee here. It's in the back.
Good. As long as you don't have Kool-Aid. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah, no Kool-Aid.
All right, good. We're good then.
But I love drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, keep it away from me. That stuff is poison, even without the poison.
But how else are you going to catch the comet?
Yeah, and the arsenic's what adds all the flavor.
Yeah, with the comet, was it Kool-Aid? I don't know if it was Kool-Aid with the comet though. Was it? Or Hale Bop? Did they end up?
Well, that's why they didn't
Forgot how
catch it, because they didn't use the Kool-Aid.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. That is a good point. So, but anyway, just saying hi. I'm learning my way to navigate this space. So, nice to meet everyone.
Yep.
I wish I could say this is a safe space, but it is here with all the atheists.
We're spooky and scary. We're trying to undermine your society and trans all your children.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. That we'll see what happens. Not too concerned about that, but good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, no, I was joking.
Well,
Yeah,
I know. Once, and I think it was Daniel Hachikachu. It was one of the guys who, when they were debating, they said atheists want to put everyone into pods. I thought that was pretty cool.
Pods? Like Keurig pods? Or like
full-on
Matrix
Matrix
pods.
I haven't heard that one before. That's new to me.
See, you don't know your mission objective.
I don't. My bad. I must have missed a memo that day.
Amy, did you have to go to your party now?
I do. I probably should leave. In fact, all right, I'm going to send love to everyone out there. Everyone on T-Job's channel should be liking, following, and subscribing. And yeah, sending love to Ix, Abyssal, Chris, S, I. Send love to all of you. Actually, I'm just realizing half your names up there are longer, and I just can't see them. Nonetheless, I'm sending so much love to you guys. Bye!
I wonder what the next theist will say. Ooh, T-Jump. So, have you noticed the overlap in how theists debate and how flat earthers debate?
Sort of. I think flat earthers do better because they actually reference empirical data.
Yeah, no, I'm talking the ones in this Discord server. I'm not talking about the ones that do it for a living. The ones that are just stupid. So, like, here's an example. They will say, "Oh, I will ask you. So, how can you demonstrate to me that the Earth is flat?" And they will say, "Oh, well, prove to me it's a globe." And I just say, well, the absence of proof that it's a globe is not proof that the Earth is flat. And I hear that quite frequently from theists that say, oh, well, absence of evidence that God doesn't exist, therefore means that God exists.
Sure, logical fallacies are very common among humans trying to reason, which is why they're named.
That's fair. I wonder what the first religion was. Sorry, let me recategorize. First theistic religion, because otherwise animism / shamanism.
Zoroastrianism was the first monotheism. Jainism and Hinduism were the two oldest religions.
Gotcha. Now, I've heard from some people that Hinduism is monotheistic, and from others that it's polytheistic.
Hinduism
and that it's
isn't
like
a
one god that
religion.
takes
Hinduism is a class of religions that are worshipped in India.
Ah, gotcha. All right, that makes more sense then. Ooh, I just shot a pilot right out of the helicopter. That was satisfying.
Has anyone here got like some really controversial opinions?
I can prove that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, come on. Of course you can't.
No, I can't.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when you look out at the ocean, right? Have you ever gone out and looked at the ocean?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so what percentage of the water in that ocean is fizzy, right? Sure, there might be some naturally carbonated water somewhere on Earth, but if you get a soda pop and it's 99.9% flat, 0.1% fizzy, you don't call it fizzy. No, it's flat. Therefore, the Earth is flat.
Haha, flat as in non-carbonated.
Lack of carbonation.
Oh, right, yeah.
But that's actually not the case. Most of the world's ocean is carbonated, just lower percentage of carbon.
Well, I guess now we'll have to define what is the threshold of carbonation required for something to be considered fizzy.
We just accept it's a spectrum.
Is it?
A spectrum of fizziness.
Yeah, but like when you say this soda is fizzy, do you say that when it's only got a little bit of fizz left in it, or do you say when it is very fizzy?
When it's fizzy, obviously.
I don't ever say this soda is fizzy. That is not a sentence I would use.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I put a soda in the fridge yesterday because I just didn't feel like drinking the rest of it. I opened up and said, "Oh, I wonder if it's still fizzy." And I twisted the cap, and it went because all the carbonated air came out, or all the carbon dioxide came out. Like, okay, perfect, it's still fizzy. But this is a bit of a stretch, I realize.
All right, I'm going to head off early. I need a nap before work, so I'll talk to you guys later.
All right.
Peace out.
Adios.